Selamat siang chat semua. Hari ke gak tahu 3 GC sore prop. Selamat hari Minggu Ilham Bocil Karbit Codet Deus HB. Sebut nama aku, sebut nama Karbit. Hari ini 1 Mei bakal pulang kah? Sebenarnya ini bukan waktu yang cocok untuk nonton GC sih, karena masih awal-awal dan lower bracket. Jadi I think just one match chat. Selamat sore. I think one match it's okay. Sore bagus. Berarti cocok ngomongin Boom, mau ngomong apa lagi? Global Esports Parts with Yoman, Boom Esports Welcome Thailand, Leviathan Promotes Academy members untuk 2026 roster, Shopee Rebellion Gold, G2 Gozen Nova, EG Unveil 2026 roster welcome back, Com. Boom Esports beats farewell to famous. M8 announce. Udah kayaknya belum ada yang menarik guys. Prediksi skor 2-0 chat. XIP chat. Ya gak sih chat? Game menurut lu promising gak prop? It's okay kayaknya. It's okay chat. Asbes, halo Raka, my sweetie gua siapa lagi? Adiswan lu mah. Semua lu bilang my sweetie. Domestic match against an opponent that they know super well. For Ninetails, they get to play in front of a big crowd at home in Korea. Coba lagi, tapi kenapa Demon One gak tertarik reuni? Bukan tertarik reuni, mungkin tidak tertarik dengan dealnya. Kenapa Falcon masuk tim partner padahal masalah uang gak usah ditanya? Bukan masalah uang sih, Paparito tidak butuh uang guys. Very young players that had a lot of pressure, and once again, just like in that grand final, you can see how they know each other, how they're still friends even if this is an elimination. Kan slotnya tidak beli slot ya, slotnya kan ditentukan. You're expecting 300 of the 400 fans to be rooting for them, and it certainly looks that way as we take a quick look at the Omen map select. We've got mungkin apa ya? Mereka tahu kayak Manchester City kali ya. Orangnya aja gede gitu. Cuman yang lain-lain belum tahu. Nge-keep e-sportnya gimana? Kan kayak gitu-gitu juga. Impact tuh ya. Halo Cosmit. Kalah sama siapa? Kalah sama XIP. Terus kalah sama ini si NTZ. So drastically, but for this map of Pearl, because they knew it was coming into the map for GCC, maybe they had some more time to prepare. For Pearl, maybe a Grams playing back on this chamber that we haven't seen in such a long time would be an ideal situation for me, for a side of Zipto that is trying to get this win early on. And even on the other side for Ninetails, back in the day, they are undefeated on this map. Bakal WP Nova Esport Gaprop ingin menonton Mai. Kita WP, tapi gua nge-cash. Jadi lu nonton gua nge-cash. Mai si Razi kah? Bocil Mai semua anjing nyerang. Gak bisa bro. Nanti besok-besoknya lagi aja. Rabu. Selasanya kan break. Yeah.
I thought that the approach looked a little bit rough. The attack sides, that's where these slow rounds were not having cancel options really caught up to them. And while I liked the creativity of
Shopify kayaknya jago banget, Prop. Ya, juara bertahan dengan dodona tanpa floor kayaknya masih oke, guys. Looks likely ya. Looks likely.
They can go back to the comfort or they can keep that composition that we just got a chance to see. And what would be interesting about it?
Semoga my claim ngeklaim lu, ngeklaim my claim.
If not, maybe that comfort.
Banyak ini bocil my ini.
I feel like is what I would go for if I'm Ninetails. Still, something that I want to mention too on the side of Zipto is that we saw Alexi and Inari were here, and they were actually not only supporting the team, but they were also bot reviewing with them and trying to have a read on not only Ninetails but Carmen Corp for their opening matchup. And I feel like those little things
kepencet,
will
anjir.
help you up in a matchup like this one.
Yeah, they certainly can. You know, we've talked about Mind a little bit. Also,
Salah.
snowballing map. And so
Bukan Q&A, start polling.
Momentum is going, it can really get off the rails very quickly. But before
my
again, I want to draw
Ninetails.
Dryad, you were talking about the potential of a
XIP
chamber on a map like this. Mimi, how does that sit with you as we do have agent select coming up right now?
Falcon Vega yang prop rosternya kurang chemistry sih, Kang, tembak semua. Kurang chemistry sih. Mereka isi komposisinya blue lock itu duelis semua. Kurang jadi kurang. Yang konsisten jadi kelihatannya satu aja tuh si Alexi. Jangan nanya yang nggak ada. Anjay. Jangan nanya yang nggak ada ya. Aduh. Vito kah? Vito kah, chat?
Samsami and Donna will very often be playing together on this attacking side, taking space as a duo. But where that puts the pressure, I think, is on Full Moon, who did have some moments in the first game to get value on this lurk. I'm also just interested to see them playing post-nerf Vice. A lot of teams fully discounted her after those changes.
Ninetails oke kah? Oke. Oke aja. Gak oke banget tapi. Oke aja.
Thank you very much, Douglas. Yes, it's time to get into this matchup. Pearl, your first map. And look, Tom, we're already coming in with some identities that are looking a little bit different. Sorry, my apologies.
Ntar SRG lagi yang juara. Ini kali. Siapa?
Anyone that's drawing your eye as a favorite? I know you're a Vito hater.
Well, I'm not a Vito
Shopify.
hater. Just nobody has proved me that the agent plays particularly well so far, and I feel like a lot of the
users Pacific busuk guys. BC-nya. Busuk sih kayaknya, chat. Satu aja udah pulang nih. Dua-duanya pertama kali Inter. Kalau kata gue sih busuk sih guys. Udah ente aja dulu. Ya gak sih guys?
They've got a very good record versus this specific squad as well and playing in Pacific. Obviously, the one factor that really changes here today is
kita butuh tonton buat gendong GC apa? Dia mah gendong ini. Gendong beben.
We'll have to see if they can beat a squad they've struggled against, and that's not the start they were looking for.
Oh, masih bisa tipi.
Graves going back in for more, another bite, but down to 3 HP. There's time to fall back at least. Ninetails not able to punish. They're taking a few blows in a row, and that side angle from Graves gets another.
GG.
Heidi not spotted on the backside until just now. With the chance to make this really costly, she can just stay alive as the teammates come flooding back in, and the right clicks land across the board. Zipto, 1-0 to start this out, and as you can see on the top of your screens, the stakes are pretty high here today. We're in the elimination phase of the tournament. Whichever team loses here, today will haunt their what-ifs.
Langsung playoff.
Yeah, it's a rough spot to be in, I think especially for Ninetails, where you come in against a team that you've taken a singular map off. That map was instantly banned out in the veto as well, so that's definitely not going to help them moving forward. And then the map that you're choosing, the next in the series, is one you struggled on earlier in the tournament. So I'm everything points that this should be a Zipto victory, but I'll have to see if they can turn things around.
balik habis kalah dari gitu. Enggak dong, itu di upper.
I think it
Nova kan habis menang
was well
sekali.
over 100 damage just on the
Terus
first
kalah.
shot. It was a collapse.
Ya,
Ended
lower.
up connecting onto a second
Artinya.
player. This round,
Halo, sorry,
definitely
halo,
some
Big Donny.
weaknesses, a couple
What's
of
up, man?
pistols, but I see that outlaw and I automatically think like, well, against these unarmored players, it's going to be easy pickings.
Yeah, of course, the Outlaw started towards B long, though. And you can see that Ninetails have already taken a lot of space. Now, with Zipto pushing up on B long, seeing nothing, pushing up on A long, seeing nothing.
Review VOD warga kapan, Prof?
Of course, with the Prowler coming
besok,
through Arc, that
besok
only
podcast.
confirms this is where the players
Selasa
coming through.
kosong, Selasa
I
kosong.
like the idea to just give
Selasa
up the
kosong.
site. It could even end up with a plant going the
Tapi
other
kalau
direction,
warga
but
gua yang di VOD
better off not giving
review
them
masih gitu-gitu
those
aja,
individual
jujur
fights.
kayaknya udah saatnya gue bikin
launching into
kontennya.
those retakes
That's
together.
it.
Really nicely done to start this out. The question of damage doesn't seem to have too much on the other side, with only one player falling.
Yeah, nice stuff. Like,
Tapi
I
emang
think
Sipto,
especially
Henry,
as you
Alex,
said,
Kamu,
not
Siraj itu
giving
kuat
in to
banget sih, tapi mereka
maybe the greed of just like I want to get myself some extra eco kills, but I do think as well it's good to see Yumi get off to a good start. I want to say a pretty horrific debut here at GCC. It didn't go well in her initial battle, but definitely someone that I think in this matchup in particular has had an absolute field day. Same can be said for Dana on the other side, though. Obviously, as has been mentioned many a time, the youngest player in the tournament coming in at 16 years of age. And has the confidence of someone who's been playing a lot longer. And if you want to watch some highlight reels, give her a shout out. She's been making them for 4 years on her YouTube channel. So definitely someone who's been playing the game since day one while being a youngster.
Yeah, quite a catalog to catch up on in the off-season, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a few videos.
A few hours of footage. Well, for Ninetails, big investment. Rifles come out. Guardian on 3-3-2 or Sammy. Zipto go down on mid. 4 players pushing up. We've seen this a couple of times. We saw it in the last round where they're willing to give up map control. This time it's towards the B site, leaving Vito's little trap there to section off that info. Ever knows there's a player close, but the second will catch them off guard.
Nambah atau kagak?
Find one, but
nggak ada.
after being seized, that is a risky play and no reward this time. Advantage to Zipto.
She's confident.
Emang ada Diva?
Like the confidence, but that's madness. Yeah,
the spike too.
Yeah, one health after being. I'm guessing she just didn't notice that she'd been seized. Otherwise, that is mental. But yeah,
the timing. Yeah, already initiated the slide, and that was
no going back now. The good thing is her opponents have given up the spike. I'm a little bit surprised by that, just because of some of the weaker weaponry.
Berat ini kayak pembantaian si Chat.
The bulldog.
I don't think.
You kind of sat there going, I don't want to be up close. And now they've been able to completely reposition, and they're basically just playing for rotations. The fact is, though, Graham's in a great spot to try and just deny them. Look at the swing together, but even still, 3-3-2 has found one. The problem is 25 health, 2 to find. I think realizing in the retake she stands no chance. It turns out she had no chance either way.
Match hari ini nggak ada.
Weaponry upgrades and a
3-0 start for
Zipto.
It's definitely an unusual angle to see the Outlaw in, right?
Nggak ada.
From so close, but it works really well. Whether by design or by coincidence, the 2 shots coming out of the Outlaw, a lot of the time teams are going to think, oh, okay, they got to reload. Let's push it. Let's run it down on that Outlaw, take him down. And there's actually 3 players there, so you see the other 2 immediately swing in, although they did end up losing the initial fight. The trades come in thick and fast with Zipto on a 3-0 start. That pressure's going to mount on the other side, but the reality is, this is Zipto's map pick, but it is also somewhere we expect Ninetails to do well. Early fight goes to Zipto, and they're going to keep scrapping for this control over main. That's going into Ninetails' favor. They've got the numbers, and they're overwhelming them.
Nah, tapi exciting nggak boleh kalah begini karena trade kill mulu.
Maybe not expecting another player, but even still, haste, quick at her toes. It's going to be able to trade that out. It's left all on to Graham. Seemingly wanting to get as many ghost kills as possible. Another added to the tally. She has been off to a flyer of a start. Almost just playing the bait. I like it. Using the steps of the fake out.
Bro, kenapa Veto nggak laku? Apa yang perlu dia adjust? Bukan nggak laku, belum pada tahu line apa aja sih.
Someone to try and give something away. Instead, Grahams was just waiting for the tap. Will now have to play that retake in the end.
Fake teleport.
Blocking vision.
Tim VCT apakah yang kena nerf karena patch ini siapa aja? Genji.
The space that you've spotted before behind you is now open.
Karena
there's no safe haven to play from, and with so many angles. these remaining players could be
Kalau
hiding on.
telat,
Trying to pull
enggak
them out into the
aman.
fight is the only option. The grab well
You not
avoids
telat,
that
man.
though. An idea from Graham's of those positions aren't long, but the shots, they do not land. Ninetails find themselves there first with a MasterCard Thrifty, and I like the adjustment to go as 5, push down one part of the map. We saw it on an eco as well, but I think a good read on the fact that Zipto have been playing aggressive. Sometimes
2026 saatnya dukung Vitality.
a spot on the map to push down.
Maybe.
The thing
If
with this
you
one,
want.
that it kind of was the opposite
No
of
more
everything else
Fnatic
we'd seen from
permainan
Zipto
basi.
so far. They'd always been like playing the fights together, like maybe giving up a position and then grouping up. This one was much more 1v1, like someone trying to bring back the round after a domino effect. So it was great work from Ninetails, but I do think at the same time some overcommitment from the other side.
Well, that won't happen this time. Is immediately
Nanti guys, gue bikin konten aja lah. 2026 start konten.
But the push coming out on
Promise.
instead. Again, this is something that we're seeing from Zipto every single round. They get aggressive, and Ninetails seem to
We
have
need
a
to
read
take
on that, leaving players to lurk outside of
the
B and
recap.
mid while this pressure's made on main. And now Zipto push down on main, but of course Ninetails are waiting again, playing into their hands. The read is
Simple
perfect
recap.
for Ninetails. Every shot seems to land. Graham's alone with an op in hand. A very tough clutch to make happen. First will be found though. The chance to pick up a rifle instead of that off. Just to get that weapon. Graham's believes
Sama aja dong.
she has a chance.
Maybe it'll be genius, but we'll have to wait and see. Back the other way, and well, a millimeter away from putting this into a 1v1. The problem now is going to be the amount of time on the clock. I feel like she just accidentally alt-tabbed. Because it just froze on the spot in the middle of the clutch. But hey, she decided to get the operator and go out of there. Done a little bit of extra damage, but I don't know, trading out the dimensional drift for what is an extra kill, I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it for an extra kill, but look at the potential. I mean, there was a shot that whizzed right past Haste's head, and then the op in the 1 versus 1, but Graham's needs to run, needs to flee. That op is valuable in the next round, but luckily, Haste isn't going to go swinging. 5 HP, and that op is carried forward, but for Ninetails again, you got to give them credit that they're doing exactly what they need to do here, reading how Zipto want to play these early rounds,
Overpick
and shutting
ini
down that disrespect.
kayak yang pas kena Tefty gue bilang, asalkan pokoknya nggak ngetik diri-diri. Aman.
They're going to have to sort of continue the aggression in this round just because of the purchase that they have, but I do wonder if that's going to be a turning point in the match when Zipto maybe slow down just a little bit. I am looking though at Yuumi with the overdrive in hand. This time no contention found outside of A. So they've been given that spot for free. The problem is it's kind of an all eggs in one basket scenario. You've got a couple of players here, but not a whole lot to really play with. And then the operator just trying to hold down that mid cross. Still with this aggressive position though, there's a chance.
Kena pick sendiri dulu. Gimana mau menang?
Mighty does well to still find one in that position.
Ini timnya nggak gombol ini. Kerja keras Graham.
How much more can be found from this spot now? Capricious landing a big kill, going back to clear. Full Moon has got the knife out, but the shots don't land. Oh, it's a disaster. That's Full Moon shines bright. It's 3-3. Ninetails tie it up.
How she managed to survive that scenario. Being peeked by 3 players, and one of them ends up getting wallbanged as they tried to reload. And then the corrective shots were just fantastic. A linchpin in the round because it looked like that could have easily fallen apart, but... Already seeing the climb back. 3-3. What was an early explosive start from Zipto, what seemed like could have been them just steamrolling through their map choice.
Agak superior, my bini semua, klaim lu semua. Klaim my bini.
As Ninetails have found their momentum, found some of that individual brilliance as well. But this is where things get very interesting, because of course the buy now for Zipto is not a great one, but we are still sitting there with an awful lot of ultimates coming into this round, and ones that could easily have high amounts of impact.
Yeah, it looks like their
Demam
decision's gonna be to
panggung
take
kah
this on the
nih
low
tim?
buy, and I think coming into the next buy round, that's really where they need to draw circles around their scars and sort of look at these early rounds. The fact that Ninetails are playing the defaults, baiting in that aggression, waiting for them in the buy rounds and catching them, that's not something I expect to see happening, at least in that same way. A main aggression's been constantly at least slowed with the bursts of utility from Ninetails, so I expect to see Zipto look elsewhere in the next. But in this one,
Coming
stacking
through,
up the
sudah
A site,
nyelip.
hoping that someone comes walking in, but they've left that gap on mid, as we've seen before. Problem is, losing Grahams and not knowing that there's already players coming into their spawn. Capricious is not going to have a good time. Shut down by Samsami, and there's more of a fight brewing towards the spawn. Great flash, and
Wah, kena
they
tempo
got there
guys.
in the end.
Yeah, a little bit awkward for a moment. Unfortunately for Con, she couldn't be further away.
Kena
And
tempo
has
mereka
also
guys.
tripped the Vice wall. So Full Moon knows exactly where her opponent's going to be. It's not the prettiest fight, but it is a fantastic round. Flawless for Ninetails. That slow start feels like a thing of the past, and a lot of it is off that Vice play. 10 and 4 right now while lurking across the map. And considering that I think the first round they won was an all-in 5-player push-up, since then they've been able to keep doing that. But
Siapa di sini yang main bini kamu humble god view?
that they've got to deal with.
Kedemenan kamu ya tiba-tiba nanya begitu. Boleh deh kalau itu yang
You
diklaim.
also have to have haste covering that B-long angle, right? Because Ninetails have the
Advantage
Vice
home
wall
ground
sitting for
maneh.
that A push, sitting to
Mau
cover that flank.
SIP-nya
So
kepik
you're holding mid solo.
bergerombol
You're going to be
mulu.
under a lot of pressure. It means there's only 3 to go towards A main, but with the
Udah mulai
utility
nyaman
coming
nih
in
kayak
from Fade,
Ninetails
they've
udah
been
mulai nyaman
consistently
guys.
able to push Zipto back. And this is what I said. I didn't want to see Zipto go for A main aggression. They haven't been able to do anything up against the utility of Ninetails. I wanted to see aggression elsewhere. And they've gone for a 3-player mid push, op holding B. A lot of control here. But Ninetails, unless they are late sending a player through mid, like it's not like we've seen a massive shift from the entire team there a lot. Although we did in the previous round where they walked through the door.
The problem is that the goal, I feel, was for Con to try and delay. There is no delay to be had. I think she was going to
Udah
immediately
mulai
try and
takut
grab
exciting
one,
ngepick
but once a player
sendiri-sendiri.
runs through,
Kena
there
bergerombol
really
terus.
isn't much of an option for her to do that.
This is the tempo chat.
It leaves an easy site take
That's
with only
it.
one defender, and while Grahams may know that there was a player on the other side of
Momentum
this wall,
shifting.
doing anything about it is going to be difficult. Maybe a chance to try and pre-fire 3-3-2. That could make things interesting. Leaves a little bit of an opener, but that time is ticking and still plenty of post-plant. And now with only one standing, Capricious may just want to try and save the operator. Never mind, we'll go down to Haste. 5-3 up now. They are running away with this.
A huge round from Haste. I think we see exactly the benefit of this
My
style of
bini.
play from
Nih
both,
lagi
Ninetails
bocil
and
klaim
playing
datang
that
lagi,
little
eh.
bit slow. They had that player covering
Bocil
mid
main
in
sudah menyerang
form of,
lagi.
Full Moon and Haste covering B. They shift towards the A site. That wall is
Jangan
then
kau
tripped
ngaku-ngaku
as the
begitu.
Neon goes running through. Yumi's easily picked off. Haste ends up getting another as those players that were coming through the top of mid. There were 2 of them. They get divided in 2. And then the late play back around through A long
Buset,
again. Like
diincer
we've
gitu,
seen from Ninetails,
Capricious.
the willingness to go towards mid as a
Diperebutkan,
team
ya.
sometimes, but the majority of the time
Nggak
it is
bisa
this
watch party,
slow
nggak
shift
bisa.
back around with a lurker around mid.
Katanya
playing a
Caprex
super
ini
slow
ya ada
game.
invitation
And it's
yang
working
Radion
wonders
ya.
for them. Zipto
Bisa gak ya?
left without really a clue how this game has slipped away from them. Those early aggressive stances were working so well for them, but now they've been shut down across the board, and this just looks like an identity diff in favor of Ninetails for now, at least. 5 rounds in a row, but plenty more to be played for after this pause.
Yeah, it's definitely not a death sentence just yet. I'm also happy as well that we're actually, I think Zipto's coach struggled to get here for the first game that they played.
Bisa-bisain
Now
gua temenin
managed to show
Batot
up as
kau
well,
Rakna,
so
bocil
maybe more of an
kematian.
opportunity when it comes to these post-pause
Caprex
rounds.
juara lagi. Nggak tentu sih guys.
Of course, we have seen
Lu nggak lihat itu Jason lagi liburan.
in the past
Main-main aja
potential
itu
for
fan service.
decent attack sides on this map, so it's definitely
Cuma
not
asal ada
a death
tontonan aja
sentence
guys.
if this half was to slip away from Zipto, but it definitely seems like they've kind of boxed themselves in, which is odd because you've got the Astra, you've got the Veto, like some strong defensive capabilities, but a lot of what they've been trying has been aggression, and I'll be honest, Ninetails have not struggled to deal with that at all.
No, not since round 4. Now with the op out, Not the op, the outlaw.
Jadwal apa ini? Jadwalnya udah. That's it for today.
Of light shields over in the camp of Zipto. They've got to be very careful not to go swinging wide into those angles, but eventually someone's got to get curious, someone's got to get info. Khan has it. 3 players, I think. She's just spotted walking down long. The spike's being retrieved. There's a shift towards the B side. It looks like... Okay, there we go. Spike picked up, and actually they're going back the other direction. I was going to say it looks like they're going to send it fully. They're going to commit to the B side. That could have been a mistake. The rotation's already in. The thing for Zipto is they can always rotate back pretty quickly. Thanks to having that ult in play.
Gue cuma tahu ada turnamennya, cuman gue nggak tahu isinya siapa aja. Let me check.
That's the problem, though.
Off season.
The Prowlers are almost selling them a full city on the Zipto side, and it's holding players into that side of the map. 30 seconds left. Now the game will be given away.
Gua nggak bisa nonton, chat. So sorry. PPX Nova. That's it. PPX juara.
Dana already taken a large amount of space, but also taking a bullet to the dome. Graham's rotation has already worked this magic. Full Moon, though, has just sprinted in. Caught with utility in hand, but the trades from Ever are even better. Graham still trying to hold on to the backline, but Ever is just better. Only Con remaining. Plenty of guns to find. But are any of them in a place that can be retrieved? There's one to our left, but getting to it would over on killing Ever. It's not pretty, but it's got the job done. Guardian retrieved, but it won't matter. 3-3-2. Comfortable to close. And what was probably the closest round we've seen in a while still goes the way of the Koreans.
Yeah, after the pause, nothing has changed.
Player G2 yang baru cakep, bro. Serius lu.
Yeah, but that margin doesn't really show up on the scoreboard, doesn't show up in the second half. There's a couple rounds left to play for. And if this keeps up with an eco coming in from Zipto, we could see a
yang di call out Capricious-mu kenapa itu diincar kayaknya.
Okay. I want to say as well though, I
pada ngefans sama Capricious
in this game from Zipto has been really weird. Like I think there's been 4 or 5 like sort of mixed buy rounds. Like it never really felt like they have a full purchase. Like someone in that round was on a Guardian.
Tempo nih, 84 nih.
That's happened too much on this defensive side for my liking.
Tempo chat,
maybe they'll get away with it. They've already found an opener. All right, Yumi's just decided that you doubt my pistol, and my pistol will prove a point. Speaking of proving a point, Full Moon, he's got a full house, 14 kills already.
And bailed them out of a bad situation earlier when it looked like Zipto were going to make it work in a low buy. It was Full Moon finding 3 kills that changed the course of that round. And it looks like she's done it again. Graham's 1v3. I mean, the ult was popped before it was a 1v3 at least. And with the chance to go long and get that weapon, it was worth it. But then everybody fell. And now Graham's all alone. Left to try to make something of this round. They've got credits for the next, so saving it ain't the name of the game. Got to get in there, but playing through the smoke, already used the flash as well. They're not going to fall for that decoy after the jump through.
Yeah.
3 kills and a 7th round on the board for Ninetails. Zipto are really stalling out of this game. And keep in mind, as much as we said, you know, this is a good map for Ninetails. Yeah, Zipto
kasian deh Yoru.
I don't see why.
Udah nggak seimba dulu. Mama, I hate Yoru, you know.
Obviously, we haven't seen
I
play
really hate Yoru.
Within this patch or within the last few months by either of these teams. It wasn't in the pool. It would be weird if we had seen it. I do also think, like, I understand retrieving the weapon, but the ult that's twice being used on an eco round, and both times having no impact. Especially when you've been struggling on retakes in general.
Apakah XIP ternyata
to try and
hanya jago online chat?
Already though, a very fast take in towards this B side. It's been mostly A hits, and so a complete different change. And now Haste is perfectly positioned. Even expects the second. Wow, this is looking like a completely different Ninetails to the other day.
And it's gonna also, it's deja vu for Zipto, because this is the same spot Haste found a double from a couple rounds ago, and now they go running into her again. Capricious alone, and that's luckily, she will be spared the taste of the blade, but the bullet does the job just the same. 8-3. Ninetails with an unbelievable streak, and it might not end before the second half. 1 round to play for. They will be leading at the half. The question is only by how much.
I think after the first
Masa
3 rounds,
ujung-ujungnya game changer juga
many people
Korea
expected
harapannya,
a
come on
dominant
gak
streak
sih?
of rounds, but
Menurut
not from
lu
Ninetails.
aja.
It was looking like a scary
Tim
game.
baru ini sampai game changer juga sih.
If anything,
Sudahlah.
since then, it's looked like a walk in the
Sudahlah.
park. Full Moon has definitely been the star of the show, but there's been plenty to write home about for Ninetails. And what is now another mixed bag by the side of Zipto, a Judge in the mix, a Sheriff once again. Let's see if they can maybe bring things back at least a little closer.
Back
Started
shout!
the slide here, but up close there's
Back
a Judge
shout!
to deal with. It doesn't matter.
Again, man. Keep
Apparently
loose.
it never does in this half
Yearly
as Ever
fight.
takes the double.
Kena trade mulu.
And Zipto find themselves in a 5v3, at least one to be returned.
What is Con's crosshair? I've only just noticed that. That's oh, definitely interesting. Not one I've seen before. Oh, hey, yeah, as you said, it's done the damage nonetheless. In the meantime, the B site now under pressure. Here we go, completely blinded. And it does again. She's doing the work. Maybe it's the crosshair to use. Maybe I'm wrong. Graham's is there as well, and it still leaves 2 standing. The problem is, again, that weaponry not the best. Operator looked away at the wrong time. And the wraparound from Dana, perfectly placed, but taking a lot of damage as she goes 3-3-2. Where are you going with that shorty? Expected someone a little closer.
Oh, by one
Graham's
nih,
with
deh.
one more. It comes down to the 1v1, but she walks out while reloading. Oh no! It's the 9 from Ninetails, and I feel like everything that could have gone wrong in this half for Zipto has.
Yeah, 9 rounds in a row after a dominant 3-0
Jerry,
start.
let's have the
Zipto have
shoulder.
stalled out of half number
No.
1. All that remains to be seen is if they can bounce back in the next half after the break.
Can I help you, sir?
Here's the bill from the dealership where I got my car, and I'd like you to beat it with a better deal on one of these fine cars.
Not how it works.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal today.
Curse ini. Nih curse nih. Curse. Baru ngomong, wah solid banget. Emang gua ngejinx. Dah lah.
Well, a big reason that streak continued as we get into our Coinbase Econ report was Full Moon. I remember 2 rounds where it seemed like Zipto were getting right back on the horse, and it was Full Moon to send them flying right back off it.
Yeah, she was just a
Momentum shifting. Pistol round.
Better words.
Ninetails menang, that's it.
GG,
GG, Mapil dan Zipto. You are chokers onliner.
Easy for her to just catch them on the rotations. The same happened once or twice with Haste as well. I think just a good game plan from Ninetails, and especially with how Zipto started, I thought they had that under control. But it seemed like as the game
Gak
went on,
sia-sia
it felt
prop suka
further
nonton
and
film
further
Jepang,
from the
NTZ
truth.
jadi menang.
Still though, seems like they're in good spirits heading into their attack side, especially with the composition they've got, that double duelist. There's always going to be potential. I'm yet to see
Apa
that
hubungan
Zipto.
nonton
We
film
kind of expect
Jepang,
to see a team that has
NTZ
beaten
jadi menang?
Ninetails
NTZ tuh
twice,
dari
once in the best of 5, once in the best of 3, and only lost a single map. This might be the
kebanyakan
second.
ini Ahmad ini nonton film nuklir.
The second half is underway. Ninetails had a lot of success
Oh, the
in taking
nuclear
aim when
chat.
it came to their attacking side, and now on the defense, it's going to be more of the same, allowing those rotations to be a little bit more freely used. You can already see there's a TP that's online towards that
Film
site that's
warna
gonna be
coklat,
taken.
bukan
Pressure
film.
already applied. Capricious finding the opening. will send this entire
Film
defensive side,
coklat.
well, for a moment, scattered, moving towards the B side.
Kacau.
But now they look to re-clear, fight towards middle, and if they're quick enough, they might even catch that rotation. The spike is on its way, but
though.
all of Zipto are here.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Haste has still been able to do incredible work in the last.
That's
so
it.
Desperately low.
That's
Only
it.
Graham's
No
left
chance.
once
It's
again,
double
but
pick.
With 8 HP, it would need to be impressive.
Again,
Not a
another
bad start
jinx.
for the last player. She doesn't know
Sorry,
she's here.
Pop, sorry.
3v2, and
Tapi
she
tetap
was
that's
running
it.
before she took the kill. She knew exactly what she was about to do. 10-3, that might be the nail in the coffin.
It definitely feels like it, Tom. That pistol round
Sorry.
had to go to Zipto, and they started off so well. They took down not just a player, they took down the player that's pulled this squad back into it in so many of the rounds. Our highlight coming out of that first half.
Just full on nodded.
And even though they got rid of Full Moon, it was still Zipto left in the darkness. A 10-3 lead for Ninetails. The squad coming in almost everyone's mind as the underdogs. Shout out me and Jen. But
Well,
for
you don't
Zipto,
think they were underdogs?
me and Jen clearly didn't. We predicted them, so, you know.
You can predict an underdog.
Sure.
Okay.
But I didn't. I predicted
All right.
the clear favorite, Tom.
Right. Is that why you always predict Enzo? Anyway, we are going to have ourselves
My favorite.
the sheriffs. Yeah, it doesn't win though. And we'll see if we're going to get much damage done. I feel like Zipto almost need to make something of this round, invested a little bit more than you might normally see in a spot, especially when they didn't find themselves the plant. Diving into the site, Full Moon this time is available. It's okay, the kill came through, just not for her, but
That's
Emma
it.
seems to have turned it. And eventually, Dana is there with the judge on her feet once again, 11-3. A dominant map, and while I feel like the timeout that's coming is just a last-ditch effort, I don't know what it's going to have to be said to turn this tide.
Yeah, I mean, as much as there's no point leaving that timeout until the game is over, right? It's going to be very difficult to give them the kind of guidance they need to get back into this game. The one thing I will say is now we're on the attack side, and where there was a consistent attempt from Zipto to play aggressive in the early stages of the defensive side, which even on this meta, you know, we talk about how difficult it is on the attack because you have these limited amount of bursts, especially when Ninetails were using their
Gagal kersor pistol aja udah
right at the
kalah.
start of the round towards A. There's typically going to be
How?
this 50-60 second gap from when that goes up to when they're setting up to actually execute into a site. And during that time, they were holding, they were waiting.
Udah ngoceh-ngoceh coachnya ini.
I think that this is somewhere that it was a game plan issue, and then in a couple of rounds where they had the right ideas, where the pieces were falling into place, Ninetails had someone like Full Moon or like Haste who was playing in the spawn to flip the table completely and send their pieces scattering. So I do think there's more of a chance, all that to say this, for Zipto on the attack, because they get to play their pace at least. It's not like they're being disrupted the way that they were in that first half.
The buy as well is interesting. You can see the confidence that's currently in for Ninetails, as they're gonna sort of
Absent value sets boy.
to what is a bonus round. Like, they're just looking to close this out. And well, that's not a bad start. One of the players that will have no credits for the next round if they don't win it was Dana purchasing up this outlaw, and she has already done.
Setuju sih, butuh combo Napski dan Henry diubah namanya jadi Team Slack.
The player you'd expect to be going in first.
Tim sobat itu mah namanya. Best friend forever.
Hit the head, but you don't need to hit the head now, do you? Just a single shot, a right click of a classic from the other side of the map will take you down.
Even a left click.
Yeah. A little RNG as well. You don't even need to aim. But yeah, it's somewhere now that they have to go back to a plan B, and it's going to be a contact up towards main, and they've actually found one. Ever dropped A site completely open as a result, and with the Vice wall covering off Art, they don't have any info. By now those players could have shift walked out, and now they realize that there is presence.
Emang Napski sama Henry selek bang. Sama Henry, kan gue bilang best friend forever. Kalau kata Skyfall, Team Slack. Tanya Napaya langsung gak sih?
Masa best friend Selek? for a moment, we saw Con checking and Con goes back. Okay, Con's actually clearing it, but Sammy the one to win the fight. A flash and a decoy ready, and that's sending them into Full Moon as they know they don't have control over Long anymore. A chance
That's
for
it,
Full Moon to
come
swoop
back.
in from the top rope, but back already open.
Actually done well. Survived maybe a little bit longer than would have expected, and the chance for our teammate was big, but now Graham, I think, putting out that ultimate in a spot where it's necessary, can figure out where they are. Still isolated. An opportunity. It's
no
left all
way.
to Graham's once again. Had to reposition to try and get eyes onto the spike. First shot connected. And desperately low. Is there time?
How they win?
I think just about, yeah. She's going to have this. In fact, it's not particularly close. It will be another round.
That's it. Come back next time.
Some questions as well.
Come back
Like
stronger.
an easy close to Zipto, but they have let that slip.
It should have been. On the other hand, for Ninetails, really well played. That while the Yoru's in ult, they say, okay, now's our time to strike. If we wait, it's a 3v2, but right now they don't have help. They don't have support. And Graham's, I feel like every time we've seen that ult pop, it's just a little underwhelming. Although he can't really pin it.
Secara logika kan mestinya menang, apalagi udah push tower, ya kan?
Yeah, that was the thing. I think where it was popped, I was actually.
Sea moment.
It just didn't go to plan this time.
Come back stronger. No chance.
They've heard the steps as well. Ninetails know what's coming, but it's a different
Kenapa
story.
tiap kali gue ngomong kayak gitu kebalikan ya?
Low player on the side as well. That will be a second found. A good start to a round that needs to be the start of 9 in a row. Again, we're going to see 3-3-2 put herself into a pocket that, I was going to say wouldn't be expected.
Memang wanita sulit ditebak, guys.
Con is just waiting for a singular move, and unless her spidey senses are tingling, they're all coming back. I can actually hear people moaning in the crowd. It's like, oh, why did she have to get spotted? Well, it's unfortunate, but already a fairly heavy deficit.
Well, Haste has done well. The thing is, like, with the way these rounds have gone, we haven't
Match
seen
point
since round 3. There's always a chance, but Graham seems to have finally connected the round that Zipto needed long ago. 12-4 from a 3-0 start. 12 rounds in a row. They call it timeout. Ninetails have called it timeout after winning 12 out of 13 rounds. That actually just feels disrespectful. Like, oh, you won. Take a minute. Celebrate. Yeah, good job.
The thing I want to know is,
that's nasty.
Is that the coach? Like, do we need to report the coach for toxicity? Because that. Wow.
Dikasih time out. What do you mean?
Instructions are being given, so you know.
Udah 12-4.
Maybe realizing that again, they've lost to this team both times that they've played. They've only won a single map against them before, and they're taking this very, very seriously. Of course, elimination is on the line. Coach 972 with an opportunity to really pass on some wisdom here. How to not lose 8 rounds in a row.
I have to say,
are you kidding me?
There is the one side of me which it seems like the most likely that, yeah, this is a disrespectful pause. Is just, sit in it.
It didn't seem like he was just sat there giggling.
Yeah, the other thing, the other side of it, having seen, the sort of body language there as well, is that genuinely, it's better to just crush them right here and now. It's better to not give them that. We warmed up for Ninetails to crush Zipto, to get everything in line, to not give them a way back in, because when you start to feel like, you know what, we got there in the end, then that second map's a little bit easier mentally to fire up into mid-fight. And Yumi's done well to find 2, but it's trades out. And on a round like this, where Ninetails don't have a lot of cash invested, that is, that's all that you need, is to trade that out.
Info P. I think Mitty actually with util in hand, and the cover wasn't there. Graham's now looks like she's going to go down as well. 3-3-2 taken over. And only Con
Nah.
The player to try and save them first. Should be easy. Second player just around the corner though, and she'll get that as well with the spike in hand, but there's already been a rotation. A full read from 3-3-2. She is in prime position to end this map here and now. Started rotating immediately. The nods out again into the smoke. Is she trying to get a knife kill? That's what it looked like. She's had to TP all the way to the other side of the map just to escape.
It's a word I don't think I've ever said, Tom. Certainly not unironically, but genuine aura play right there. To go for that knife to close the map after 12 rounds in a row after
I thought you were going to say trolling, but...
Yeah. You've got an 8-round lead. I mean, why not? Look, here she comes. It's over. A 4K for Sammy. An unbelievable display down on that stage. The squad.
She's ulted instead of defusing, by the way.
It comes in as the underdog.
You can't see this. She used her ult and just stood there for a bit, aura farmed, and then went and defused. This team is trolling in a game. They're winning 13-4 and are just trashing their opponents.
Wow.
We have just witnessed an
GG.
absolute clinic from Ninetails. And I don't know if it's the crowd buff or
Main
just their
mancing dulu ya.
not being able
Nanti.
to hold on, but that
Dijadwalkan
was
lagi
super
nanti ya.
impressive. We'll see if Zipto have got anything when they come back after the break. Perfectly placed, but taking a lot of damage as she goes 3-3-2. Where are you going with that shorty? Expected someone a little closer. Graham's with one more. It comes down to the 1v1, but she walks out while reloading. Oh no!
An update is required.
Financial system updating.
System updated.
We will dance to get.
The future of money is here.
Suka-suka saya melihat performance Sipto. It's a Sipto map, you know. That's it. Dibikin kelamaan. Kuatnya di regional, walaupun tetap pelan di Thailand. Ninetails lebih solid setelah kalah 3-0 di awal, guys. I rate Sipto too high. Gak salah sih sebenarnya. Wong. Menang di region. Bro minta parfum. Kemarin gua ke Lipo mau Puri lagi Kopelik. Nyari yang murah-murah. Gua udah gak level sama lu Kopelik yang udah niche. Congrats ya Kopelik kuenya anjay. Lumayan aku Bagi gue dong, tukeran gimana? Gua kasih lu tim tank, lu kasih gua niche. Lah kemarin gua kesana, serius lu? Kapan lu kesana? Lu beli apaan? Lu beli apaan? Gua beli imaginary karena lumayan. Imagination gue udah mau habis. Gua beli Tismi sama Imaginary. Malam minggu makan doang. Gua kemarin kesono jam 7 abis nge-cash. Jam 7 terus langsung balik karena terlalu rame. Rame banget. Emang di Depo Mapuri ada toko parfum apa? Itu Fragrance World lagi pameran di sono.
They really did the most simple game plan, like you're saying. They were just abusing these A hits over and over again. But I think in some ways, going back to simplicity, getting confidence up is all they needed to do. You see there, Donna getting involved, standing up. She was the one who went to the press conference in tears after her debut match and had to make a massive recovery to come into a game against a team that you've never beaten before, that you're playing against on the biggest stage you've ever played. And to see them comfortable, letting that pressure fall off their shoulders was exactly what they needed to do.
Pantes gua 1 jam cari parkir, bukan karena parfumnya, emang rame aja gak sih, karena lagi promosi mau Natalan, vibes-nya nutcracker begitu, enak bro, aroma FW Imaginary, lumayan. Untuk 200.000 sih best sih, ya angka segitu.
Really just kind of set the tone for Full Moon Mimi to go off after that. I don't think Full Moon slow down after this.
Yeah, I was hyping up the Samsung E-Lurks when she gets to play the Viper, but on this map it's Full Moon filling into the role instead, and because they played such a
yang gue
simple
suka
game,
jujur
I think that Full
Tismi,
Moon got away with way too much. You saw Zipto
aromatis,
as a reply, they
Tismi,
started to try and push players out into mid and
GG.
flank retake on A, but
80%
consistently
ada,
Full Moon was
80% mah
either
ada.
lurking into mid and
Dia tuh
killing those
kayak
players,
Aqua
or just
Dubai.
sometimes sitting in spawn behind her wall, getting 2-3 kills in a lot of these rounds. That one player in the 4-1 was doing crazy work.
Yeah, you see it a lot right at the beginning as well, and it was catching Zipto off guard when they thought they could take a little
Dia
bit
kayak
out of
Aqua
mid
Dubai,
space,
baunya
even in those
Shopee.
eco rounds, even after they were recovering and trying to build that
Kayak
economy.
sabun banget.
We saw round 3, round 4 as well with the operator, and it was shut down by Full Moon. And as we move forward into that first half as well on the attack side, you see a little bit less of those 4-1s, and you start to see Ninetails that even if they were playing slow, they were I feel like playing around the map a bit better compared to what we've seen in the past. They were, you know, playing a little bit towards B, leaving that Euro inserted towards pillar, going towards A as well, and adding a bit
Pro kamu baru habis berapa lama?
I'm still not totally sold because I think they did have to rely a lot on just aim diffing in some of these executes, and I do want to critique the other side some because I felt like Zipto, especially their approach to how they were anchoring A. I would have liked to see them change it up. They kept playing the double duelist there, trying to continue to take these A main fights, but they just couldn't find success with those A main fights. I would have loved to see them switch the Veto over, play the Astra there as well, maybe buy an Odin onto that Astra, and try and focus a little bit more on full stalling as this exit came in, instead of always trying to fight up in a way that felt a bit uncoordinated throughout that game.
And that is the Zipto style as well that we've seen, and that gave them success in that grand final for a lot of rounds where they were pushing, where they were getting that space, but now it seems like Ninetails, they understand a little bit of that, and it does seem like it is a Zipto mistake that they're trying to fix.
Jadi daripada beli jutaan, gue beli 200.000. Biar ngirit, gua mix aja nanti. Tapi kualitinya emang beda. Quality ini apa namanya, berjam-jam tetap halus. Bisa berapa jam? Di gua sih 4-5 jam lah.
I am a little concerned, especially when you don't have a lot of time between maps and you have to reset, and you see a Capricious that is struggling a little bit. We saw as well that reaction right after they ended that first map of frustration, not being able to get anything done. But this is the first map that they played in that grand final. They gave
Capricious sampai nangis. Enggak, ntar dia kekar dan langsung kekar gak tuh. Dia tabah.
if anything, it's going to depend on that mental reset for them to when it pushes to the third map.
Dia akan tabah nanti, guys.
From a few moments ago, I'd be interested to see what it's looking like in the camp for Zipto now because
karena mau nggak mau pertandingan adalah pertandingan dan harus dilanjutkan, guys.
So hard to reset, and it's brutal as a competitor. You know how hard these players work to get here, how brutal the run-up was in Pacific to have such an opportunity and feel like it might be slipping away. But all they can do now is reset. Zipto, I
reset.
here on Bind. They beat Ninetails in the past.
You know you need to reset, no matter what.
And if they can actually reset after that loss.
Interesting parallels to think about what we just
Abis
saw.
kena bantai,
How Donna looked
pressure.
after the post
Mentality
series
is the
conference
key.
that we saw just a couple of days ago. Thoughts, Dan, from you on the compositions?
I'm excited to see this because we saw this map in the grand finals, but Ninetails was playing a very different composition with Dana on that race. So now switching up to that Waylay and that composition that we saw in their opening series, I feel like should be a little bit better. She's definitely more comfortable on this agent. It allows them to take a little bit more space as well. And for Zipto, they keep that same composition. So Ninetails, maybe they had the time to study to try to understand why they were so good back then.
We're ready for map 2 of this elimination match. Will Zipto be able to punch back, or are Ninetails continuing their tournament run? Mitch and Tom, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Douglas. Yes, getting into this second map, Tom, I have to say much quicker than I expected. Regardless of who you thought was winning the first, that was a quick and dominant showing from
another
Ninetails
Vito.
that I don't think anybody expected.
That's
even
good.
if it was Zipto
Bye.
winning, to show that level of dominance. And I think kind of, on the one hand, worrying to see that, you know, as the desk brought up, it was getting to them, very strong emotions down on that stage. But I love the fact that the team was all around there, providing that support, big hugs. That's going to get you back into things if you can start out with a bit of momentum.
Kemarin gimana tur bro. Jujur nih kemarin gue kurang tidur. Yang lagi gimana sih?
They come in as favorites. They come
Bener-bener brawl banget. 2 orang, 3 orang atau 2 orang lah minimal gendong. Sisanya BNN.
Might be the biggest factor here. Like Ninetails with the crowd firmly on their side, big hero plays, huge dominant victory, and their opponent, while looking a bit mentally boomed, it's going to be difficult to reset that in such a short amount of time. As I said, it's good they've got their coach here now, but can that make the difference?
Oh no!
And it's capricious.
Don't start like this. It's not. It can't be a knife. Okay, it's the spray. At least the bullet takes them down. And an opening pick for Ninetails. And Sammy will be caught on the way back though. Good trade, and it's leaving just one towards this B site. A lot of pressure now mounting on Full Moon, but Full Moon's been delivering almost every time.
Good flash!
Flash! Great dive! Still alive, but finally Full Moon falls.
Enggak, kalau ini menang nggak nama nangis lah.
Nice shot, but an immediate trade. Stun out, Ever under pressure and gone, and now it's left all onto Dana.
Beresin sama kawan-kawannya, guys.
Almost managing to remove another. Both players tagged low.
One hit.
An opportunity, but it is baller from Graham's just straight across.
Crazy.
Finds the kill and an important triple to get them that pistol.
Phenomenal to see. And for Graham's as well, a 3-0 start in terms of the KD, a 1-0 start for Zipto, but we need to see a lot more because it was a 3-0 beginning to Pearl, and then everything fell apart.
She was also there pretty much the whole map though. Like, even though a lot of the time I feel like she was in like 1vx scenarios, Graham's stats, if you go back to that last map, were decent. So
harusnya ada lu prop buat yang tenangin lu aja deh.
Some of the other players that need to sort of step up alongside.
Gua mah
I think that's something that was discussed on the desk, right? Bringing in Yuumi on the Waylay, having that double dive, it's very, very strong, and I think that's something that will play in Zipto's favor. That's a little bit late with the trap going down, so it will be destroyed. So no late round control over Bath unless you're putting players there, and Ninetails certainly are.
Tempo excited, this is a comeback, chat.
Not quite the fight that
Just kidding.
As Sammy takes a double.
Just kidding.
They're a player down with a big stack on this A side. If they decide to run into it, I think maybe the right call to just back off.
Full Moon.
Kenapa ya mulut gue ya?
Now no longer on that Senti roll, which was so impactful in the last, but still up to the same mischief. Worryingly, Dana's managed to get herself a Bucky. This is one of the few places that's perfect, but the paranoia is good. Close angle, nice work from Ever. Oh, and she managed to get 2! She was low on HP already, and then the flank out from Full Moon. Well, it's not a 3-0 start this time. It's
I
a
never
Mastercard
stop
Thrifty in
talking.
round number 2.
It's time to
After the
jinx
map they
everything,
just
chat.
had, this has got to be soul crushing for Zipto. The double kill
Maaf, salah
was
lihat.
insane.
Ini pemain paling
Fulham's
jagonya,
timing of the
3-3-2.
flank, it was being watched the entire time, and I'm not joking. The
My bad.
second that they turned,
That's my bad.
around goes Full Moon. The wrap is in, and that's why they're so
My
patient
bad,
then in
chat.
that bathroom fight later, knowing
Paling
that there
GG
should be
itu.
one, if not more,
Paling
coming
GG
their
dan
way.
ketenangan.
Mastercard Thrifty, and a third round now that
Walaupun
sets
Full Moon
Ninetails
yang
up to
sering
really
mengendap-endap
steal
dapetin
away
easy frag
this
dengan
early
timing macam
half.
Dafai. Tapi by aim dia sama
You're
Dana.
not getting too close now, are you? Even with the stun hitting. Pulled back
My bad.
by the utility. The walkthrough, not going to find anyone on the other side. Nobody isolated on Ninetails as they just give up this space.
I guess you weren't expecting Dana to be up there. It looks a little silly. Wow! Okay, Dana!
Di antara kau dan...
Crowd open for an ace. Well, I was going to say it doesn't look possible because of the position. They're not going for a knife.
They're giving it to her.
Buset,
They're giving
buset,
it
dia
to
mau
the
nyari
ace.
ace.
There you go.
Udah sampai teriak-teriak
That's a good
sendiri.
teammate right there. You'll love to see it.
That's what we like to see from Dana. That the 16-year-old gets the
Ah,
ace on the
Capricious,
stage.
kena ada Capricious.
A youngster with a
Kena ada.
huge amount of confidence already, and that's only going to send it
Ah,
flying.
kena ada ini. Kena mental dah nih.
I'm almost just waiting for the reaction. There you go. We're looking at the coaches. I want to see Dana's reaction.
Maybe she was just a stone cold killer in that moment.
She was celebrating on the cam. I can see it.
Well, fourth round and a chance for Zipto to deal some damage. Trades are good to start it for the defensive side, who do come in with some weaknesses. The problem here for Zipto is when it comes to retakes, if that's where they end up, or a bit, I guess, too much of a telegraphed play, the ulti online for Dana, which no surprise after the ace in the previous, have a lot of impact bridging the gap between any weaknesses and the rifles in play, but
mulai
there's no
kalah
weaknesses anymore.
sabar.
The Outlaws on the floor.
Dana?
Dana, though, ready
Dana?
and waiting. The
Dana?
ultimate pop, the timing is near perfect. Both players caught in the corner.
Wah,
but
si
Con
Kon
was
nggak kena.
not
Memang
stunned
jago
up.
kali Kon menyelip ya.
Zipto only have Ever to deal with. And those salvos will give the position away.
3-2-2 si tipe Yanto banget ya. 3-2-2.
And already being pulled in
Tipe
as well
Yanto.
by Capricious
Yanto
Utility.
kayaknya
A decent
tipenya semua
recovery
deh, guys.
from Zipto.
Yang penting
A
cewek,
round
guys.
on the board, but you also have to bear in mind that the economy of Ninetails over the last couple has
Tapi kayaknya
been
iya.
well, flying. They've got so many credits to spare, so even though there were a couple of weaknesses, they do a lot
Mantap nih
of
semua
damage.
karena Kon ya.
This needs to be more of a streak of rounds from Zipto rather than a one and done
Gak tahu
blip
gua.
on the radar.
Yanto gitu soalnya guys.
In fact, they've got so many credits, we're
Tiap
going to see an
minggu tuh
operator
tipenya bisa
immediately
ganti.
purchased up from Dana.
Kang bungkus dia. Bahaya deh, diam-diam tuh jomblo tapi banyak
At
kiri
least they're still
kanan.
getting loud. That's a
Berbahaya
good
deh,
sign.
berbahaya.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, you can't see that taper off too early. Look at this aggression from Dana. The refract online needs
Emang
to get
iya
around that
toh?
corner soon, but a little too soon. In fact,
Jujur,
Zipper
Prime.
trading it out and keeping this even despite losing the big guns.
Pada prime gini nembak ya,
Themselves a fair bit
NTZ
of
guys.
control, and look at this from Sam Sammy. The wrap up behind
Ya,
hasn't yet been fully
Yeah.
spotted.
iya.
But steps are heard. The plant will be coming through. This is very, very dangerous. You're going to see these players in spawn make noise. The dog sent through the steps behind it. They know two players in spawn, and they're worried about bathroom, but for good reason. That player was bath, but now pushed all the way up behind. The timing is insane. Graham's just checked short, and Sammy tucked in, now swinging in for
What
the
is
kill.
this?
The advantage for Ninetails just keeps on compounding. They even spotted Piety trying to sneak out of the smoke. Ninetails right back into the lead. And they're on their feet again. You know, we started the game out, they're hugging down on the stage during the fist bumps, and I'm thinking, oh well, it's all gonna be friendly smiles across the stage. They'll be clapping, cheering each other on, but
Capricious
no,
sudah
this has
ngamuk
been
padahal
a game of mental
belum
warfare.
cukup.
Just go like crying.
Yep.
It's a,
Genuine mental warfare occurring.
that's toxic. Well, at least we're still giving it back. 3-2.
But there are no
Lead.
friends on the server.
Ini crowd
Lead
effect kah?
taken.
Enggak juga sih.
And this is what I was talking about with the economy.
Kayak mereka
Only pistols in this round for Zipto.
mendingan sih.
An attempt to do some damage. Some ults to play with, but other than the Nightfall ones that
Mungkin
at
latihan
times can
keras
be
lah
a little
sebelum
limiting in
champion.
terms of the actual damage you can do with them.
Oh, yang
Seekers
kemarin
is
kan
also gonna
di
be gathered up
Thailand
by a full moon.
kayak ngarepin 1-2 orang
It's a little
aja.
bit more.
Nggak online terus kemarin kan Thailand, cuman kayak jago region aja gitu. Ini udah beda sih. Well play, like well play.
Safely around that corner.
Team
Forced
Ivor.
to go in, you know, it's a little risky. But Zipto having all
Lebih
these
ke
pistols.
giliran momen paling
Not
penting,
gonna see anything crazy.
mereka nggak
I'd
perform aja
imagine
gitu.
the Ninetails not pushing up like they
Nggak
have
bisa yang posisi-posisi
couple of these
pressure.
rounds so far.
XIP.
Say that, Sammy walks out of hookah. Not certain about that one, and that's a huge punish, especially when utility had just come. Like, you knew there was a player there. And on a pistol round where there's one, there's often more.
Oh, rifle retrieved.
Seekers used.
Something extra to play with. Cosmic Divide going to be put into place as well. Nightfall also. They're throwing everything at this one, and Dana's managed to duck in between. They know there's one up above.
Okay,
And Yumi's done well. A quiet start to the game. Her first kills. Oh, this is risky. Really wanting to play through, but that is an easy fight for Graham's. Yumi has truly woken up, and now Ever is all that remains.
Tapi dead
An
sih lah
attempt
ini.
to fight
Kalau
versus
enggak.
3, and the first 2 went her way. I thought for a second she
Gua
was
tahu
about to do something
itu
crazy.
dead sit, cuman
Instead, it's
wow
the
man.
Monster card
What a
thrifty coming
shot
through
chat.
for Zipto.
Nyaris.
That was insane reactions. from her.
Tiba-tiba bisa instant. 2. Phantom. How?
Excited to see this replay.
That's why XIP
Even
lose
if
chat.
we slow it down, it's gonna look too fast.
That's why they lose.
Really nicely
Pada
done
nembak
by
ini.
Zipto, but this
See
really
this? Aim keyboard, that's so nice. Aim keyboard, that's so nice.
that really stole our eye. Well, 3-3, and it's a much-needed win for Zipto. We're tying it up early on, not letting Ninetails run away with this. Keep in mind, this is the half they decided to start on, and now we start to see why. Feeling a little bit more comfortable. Graham's on the early TP, catches the opening duel. In comes the convergence path. A player took to the corner, but unfortunately, tries to use the utility and ends up paying with their life. A 2 versus 5,
slow, right?
and a really clean play from Zipto. Yeah, the convergence path had hit them.
Even getting out that
Yep,
utility or anything was going to be very, very difficult. It is a round done. One of the quicker as well. Like Zipto have done well. I think Graham's on those entry has been fantastic in this map. And I think a good sign in the last round was the fact that I think in the first 5 rounds, Yumi was 0 and 5. 3K in the last. Obviously,
Sorry,
the thing we're talking about is Ever because of how ridiculous that attempt was. But her waking up, even only having a sheriff, it's a pretty big piece. Now they're trying to save
Oke nih
these
jadi
So for Khan,
rame.
an attempt to try and
Jadi
remove them. Dana not going to allow that
sengit.
to happen, and the others a little bit further away to really do any damage. Zipto will take the lead. After the streak of round from Ninetails, it was looking like a similar story to the last map, but they have stabilized.
Not too late either. Getting into that. And I think for Ninetails, at this stage, Zipto's starting to heat up. 3 out of 4 rounds. I don't think we're far away from getting a pause out. Probably if this round goes the other way, that's where we will see them just take a breather. They're happy to roll into this, where they've got 2 sheriffs, 2 rifles.
Find you.
And Buffy as well.
Ulti Veto kena ulti chamber kan mati lah. Ditembak mah mati.
This aggression from Dana. They did hear it though. They heard the dashes going down, but probably assumed that the refract would be taken. Like, that's what has happened almost every time. But Dana, with one of the 2 rifles, is walking all the way through, and although seemed to catch Piety off guard, cancelled out.
Biaya Veto bisa hilangin Blind Omen bisa.
Luckily,
I don't know if I've ever seen
Yang
that with
flash
it, like,
bisa.
where you actually see the player like go and then they're still in the same place. That must have been so
Address kemana?
confusing for Piety, but
Gak tahu.
won't matter too much now. Haste.
Sepertinya Pasifik tahun ini yang penting hadir itu yang gue bilang
Angle might
di awal stream.
catch one by surprise. The Tiger.
Be right back.
It's going to give at least a little bit of information. That can start the rotation, but it is start the rotation. And considering how far in Yumi already is, it's going to rely on full moon within the smoke.
they're not seeing anything, man. At this point, you have to think there's a
Masa iya lagi di
single
situ?
player towards
Ya
Batman.
kali,
Really
udah di
be
flash
in
2
it.
kali.
That full moon, they're waiting for that push out of the
Ever sih lagi jago.
Has to make
Kok kata
another
gua, wih geding tuh,
impressive
geding.
spray transfers. They all come swinging, and there's nothing going the way of Ninetails. Zipto
Di situ aja
5-3 up. And a
Optimus
much
Prime
better
sama
start
Megatron nggak?
than
Nggak
what we
ada,
saw
nggak
in
ada,
the
nggak ada
previous map.
Megalodon.
Yeah, they've started to build, and you can already see
Nggak ada,
that
nggak ada.
now going to
Aman, chat.
take a moment. I think it's
Yang ada, my,
that round you can understand the hero play attempted by Dana, but it was more the round with the Cosmic Divide when they're up against pistols. Like you saw the aggressive push on B, which gave a gun over, and then a couple of players really taking big risks around that Cosmic Divide rather than playing the retake. I think the confidence might have got to them a little bit too much, and I think the
Kalau
coach is
Pacific
going to try and rein
biasa
that in a
bocil
bit,
Mai.
because
Kalau yang lain
the last
biasa
time these two
bocil
teams played against
Megatron.
each other on this map, it was
Pasti
actually Zipto
begitu.
having a very dominant defensive side. So
Aku
this is
bakal rombak
not the
menurutku.
greatest sign. Of course,
Harusnya
different
iya.
comp, different meta.
Kalah,
We
ya
can
rombak
expect
lah.
changes as we did in the last map. But
GC jarang yang
realistically, you don't
bertahan.
want to allow too many attack side rounds for Zipto.
Yeah, and realistically, we saw it on the previous map as well. Over on Pearl, that timeout from Ninetails, once they made mistakes, the coach was like, okay, no, we actually gotta solve this issue before it gets out of hand. At this stage, like you said, it's hard.
EMEA juga nggak ada.
A mistake. They lost one
Iya lagi?
round.
Iya, iya,
and they
iya,
were winning 12-4.
There could have been multiple mistakes in that round. You know, losing a round is not a mistake in and of itself.
Nanti dari mana?
But,
Dari Korea.
yeah, I think for Zipto, it's hard to estimate, right? As you're saying, we can expect a good defensive side from them because of the team itself, but different comp, different meta, completely unknown. Sort of how things are gonna play out. But I think for the most part, the assumption is that with these changes, the
Tobat nggak ada
attackers have
skor,
it worse
tapi masih
in this
jago
meta.
dengan
But then you
Dodona.
add in that it's this double dive, and I think every map is going to be different. Bind, especially when
Mai kamu
there's
memang
so
nggak
many,
ada,
especially looking towards that A side.
Buat kalian aja, buat kalian
So many ways
semua,
that
buat
you can
kalian.
use this waylay dash to steal
Makan tuh.
information and map control away.
Here.
I don't know how exactly it will play out. Great flash, great dash again, just clearing these corners. It's such a strong composition for contesting map control, and you can see that Ninetails have to give that up. They can't really fight for it. The best they can hope for is information when it comes to that utility barrage.
Yang bener kamu Fadlan.
Seems like the B side is definitely the
Sorot Panda.
point of call. Full moon looking to be the one under pressure again, hit by a couple of pieces of utility and have been forced out of there. A reactive Cosmic Divide just to try and make that plant a little bit more awkward. And in fact, it's going to force a full rotation. 3-3-2 perfectly placed. This could be the moment for the judge to take over, but an important trade by Con. That one now allowed them space, and actually the Cosmic Divide is going to help them out a little bit of getting into this site. Dana's taking a risk, and the risk pays off this time, but it's only for one. The spray is wild from ever. From beauty to the beast, as it has gone completely wrong.
Yeah, that one they're going to want to forget real quick. I think for Zipto as well, you know, although the actual push itself towards the A side works wonderfully, it's Yuumi who really rips this round apart, sticking around as the rotations are happening to find one from the elbow. Even ended up getting another one exiting elbow.
Susah-susah.
Dismantling any
Semuanya
chances
instan.
of this squad getting back onto that site, making that retake happen, and then obviously
Mai abang ya Fadlan ya,
the
keren
spray at the
kamu.
end didn't help. I know that one.
The crowd did. The crowd definitely did. 6-3. It seems like Zipto have found their way back. Ooh, just about escaping. Full Moon also.
Tabrak gak sih itu cuma sendiri.
And even still, they are not taking any
sendiri
chances.
juga udah ketahuan
Just to
dia.
make sure that if there was a stack up, it would be revealed. And they're actually looking to put the pressure onto 3-3-2, make sure that nothing else goes astray. This is a dominant looking round, and a flank is coming, but question kind of is how much can this do? Maybe one for free onto IT. There you go. That's something. Is there anything more?
From here, surely not. I mean, they're grouped up as well. You can see everybody on the backside. No one's out of position. You've got an isolated fight, and who could
Serius lu, Stavalas. Zeta nggak ada. Nggak ada. Zeta bubar tanpa ada Falcon Punch. That's it.
Make this costly. Punish the exits. Go down to the spike if necessary. As The ults are already online. But I think it really is important to grab a couple of kills. For Ninetails, Zipto running away with the economy. They're guaranteed now for the rest of the half. They're going to have money.
I think it's too far gone anyway.
Probably was actually at this point, yeah, with two left to play for. They're coming in, what, with 7K on everyone?
Yeah.
Pro partnya Con apa?
Oh, 7-3. 5 in a row now for Zipto.
It's also good to see Yumi's having a couple of big rounds, high impact kills, being embedded as well, and is the tip of the spear in terms of diving in. I mean, remember, you see Waylay a lot of the time here, Ninetails are avoiding those early fights, but if they do get spotted by that dash, you can immediately hit the stun, refract, and then someone else is following up. So it's very, very dangerous. Exactly like that! But she even gets the kill before fading away. That's nasty.
Momentum shift namanya. Alexi nggak lolos, dia malah liburan di Korea sama Indonesia.
Oh, actually take it down. In fact, 3-3-2 is evolved.
Baru ngomong momentum shift. Inikah momentum shiftnya NTZ?
What started off so strong with this? Ooh, there we go. Capricious, even a little bit of body spam. Spike.
Inikah momentum baliknya XIP? Not gonna happen, chat. 3-3-2,
completely isolated fight that could have easily gone wrong, but doesn't get punished for it. There's plenty of time for Zipto to play with. The advantage firmly sits with Ninetails, but you feel like they need this round a lot more than their opponents do.
Last player standing.
After all the timing there on the swing.
Aman.
Know where the last player was.
Aman.
Another on the board for Ninetails, just about, and that almost fell apart.
Yeah.
Sammy at 3-3-2 didn't know that the angle was a little bit shallower that her teammate was holding, but this opening was ridiculous. You dive in, you spot the player, and normally that's where you think, okay, I'm going to throw my stun out, I'm going to refract backwards, and then my teammate's going to trade it out. And goes, no, I'm going to do it myself, and takes the fight. Quick, clean, and easy. One left to play for. 7-5 still possible, but for Zipto, they're going to want to hammer home this victory. Off in hands. More greens early on.
Gue mau jadi wujud asli Ilham Gar.
Same old trick, but almost gets punished.
Kangen nonton Zeta gak perlu, kangen banget ngeliat warga gue yang ngeliat Zetanya kalah, tapi nggak apa-apa. Tapi pas lawan SRN atau siapa? Jelly. Kocak lu, langsung dikata-katain tuh musuhnya Zeta.
Getting ready to use that convergence path, but I'll be honest, it seems a little bit early. There was nobody really challenged by that ult. Sure, it slowed them down, but with the advantage, I'm more interested in the position of 3-3-2. This is a spot that I definitely wasn't expecting to see a defender on, and maybe a chance to take out Piety completely if the spot is made, or maybe a little bit more. No, that's a fake rotate, but can keep the information. It seems like Piety now has the idea, has the read.
Oh, saw the ankle. The shoelace round the corner. That's unfortunate. Was on the site. Haste falls. You feel like this is Sammy's chance to really have that impact, but a known factor at this stage. Grahams will be watching it off in hand. Easy pickup. And Zipto, they seem to have done everything they need to not just lead at the halftime, but to have a decent margin to work with as well. Again, we have promise, or hope rather, of what that defensive side could be. This round, not yet done, but 1 HP in the difference. It's just moments away. 8-4 at the halftime. Zipto showing a much better face here on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, you could see in the early rounds there was still some shakiness, still a player here or there that looked a little bit rough, but the 5-round streak seems to have brought them back into contention. We'll see if this is a return to form or if Ninetails can turn it after the break.
Ngamuk dia balas dendam, izin fokus, lock in.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Lagu apa nih guys? Pernah di RRQ gak sih Pop? Apa beda? Bener pernah tapi bentar doang kok kata Nap. Cuma 1 match. Yong lost ember. Dia kecolongan ember guys. Dimaling siapa ini embernya dia? Yong. Kabar Boom gimana? Nggak ada kabar.
Welcome back, folks. This could be Zipto's final stand, but they're looking much better, standing tall after half number 1 as we get into our Coinbase econ report. And Yuumi really did draw our eye. That performance shift, and we talked a lot about the Waylay being picked up. It certainly has done her justice.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous because we saw even in the opening match, she seemed to struggle quite a bit. Last map definitely wasn't there, but
Prop, kata-kata hari ini apa Prop?
When we've seen playing in Pacific, so I think it's definitely a great sign. And the fact
Kalau melihat pertandingan ini Capricious nangis. Menurut gua kata-kata yang tepat untuk hari ini. Lakukan yang terbaik karena masa depan gak ada yang tahu. Kalian hanya bisa melakukan yang terbaik untuk melihat untuk masa depan yang baik juga. Do your best. Jangan nangis dulu. Gak ada kesempatan untuk menangis dan menyerah. Gua kangen WP VCT pas sahur next year.
We already had a solid performance from Yuumi, and that, although the Yoru flashes were a big part of how much space was able to be fought for, I think that Waylay, in terms of the dive in and getting out with the refract,
Ceweknya nih, aduh ya TTK si Plong kan nggak ada. Tanya yang lain guys.
And alongside some of the other utility, you can get yourself
Tanya yang lain. Skyfall. Langit jatuh.
There's 2 players here, and Haste. Oh, actually catches the timing. Could have ended up with a kill, but it's Graham's to draw first blood, and then
Jujur, nice shot.
Around that corner.
Welcome,
Numbers being thrown at Ninetails, and Zipto come out ahead in almost every engagement.
Yeah, the fact is, after pushing into mid and being spotted, it actually delayed that middle push and just meant that rather than the attackers surrounding the defenders were able to pincer down. Still an opportunity though for Haste. The first goes away without too much trouble, but the paranoia is going to leave her with not a hope in hell. It is Zipto to extend their lead ever further, 9-4. I know those faces. It's in somewhere before.
I can't think of where. Yeah, a pistol round for Zipto here. This is where Ninetails would have been coming in, hoping to find it, but you know the reality is, starting out this map, it feels like the shoe's on the other foot. Ninetails, they lose the pistol, they find early success in like a 3-2 scoreline, and now they're sat 9-4, getting a taste of their own medicine. Zipto very much seem to have found their form. Graham's again delivering that opening
duel. Berkat kata-kata hari ini aku jadi rajin terus dapat 100 di MTK.
Although there's been no upgrade, just continues to find
MTK.
And in this round, you'd expect nothing less. A shot to the body is more than enough. Now, we talked about the stinger. It's not got
keren kamu GGZ, memang keren. Semoga dengan matematika 100mu kamu mendapatkan pekerjaan yang layak.
It's not good.
Whoever nerfed it, thank you. So I don't have to listen to him go on about it all the time. It genuinely made me very happy that that gun sucks now.
Jangan kaget dengan reality.
I mean, it felt like a targeted change, I'll be honest.
Honestly, maybe I'm the dead.
Karena dewasa enaknya kalau punya uang.
Who added that wall onto Ascent? Love them as well. That was brilliant.
Semoga matematikamu memberikan
playing the Odin players, wonderful.
Kesempatan.
It's on site.
Oke, Prap, siap.
Speaking of on site, that's where Ninetails are trying to go. Towards the A side, but again that outlaw is still
berkat kata-kata lu gua jadi gila ya Fadlan nih.
For them to make a move. 30 seconds left. They're eventually going to need to go. You don't want to hold on to your classics and your bookie for the next. And the hope here is just that someone on Zipto gets aggressive, plays a silly game, and they're not going to look for silly prizes. Instead, they want some more orbs towards that dimensional drift. What's going on here?
Well, I think there's, I don't know if this was an attempted ruse to try and get a plant, but it has not worked. Yeah, almost needs to die at this point, but if anything, you might just want to leave Dana with a Bucky. Yeah, sure, okay.
He's also hiding.
Yeah, she's going to hold on to the Bucky for the next round. That's an interesting one.
That could be a first for me. Okay, ideas. Why are you keeping the Bucky for the next? I mean, you could go down and buy the Bucky, but we don't want to give orbs to the Yoru. That makes sense. We're planning some sort of aggressive dive into
I think
lamps.
you're trying to rationalize something that can't be rationalized. I think that's just a mistake, and it's a mistake that now means instead of having a rifle, then has a Bucky. So you never know. Maybe she's about to Bucky ace, and all of us are going to look like idiots. And if that happens, I'll be very excited. Unfortunately, it now puts thereby not quite level with their opponents, but it's definitely not great. There's a Bucky on the other side. Maybe she's just trying to match up to the opponents. I'd be a little bit more worried, though, about that Outlaw. It has been fierce so far.
Well, you can see that Haste certainly was the first shot of the Outlaw rings out. Haste is out of there. Running back over. What's this be sight? Nice shot by Full Moon, but in the corner here, Bucky with a chance, and that chance faded very, very quickly. Graham's running for the hills. And even this flank that's coming through, you can see Yumi and Capricious are on their way, but there is a trap waiting for them.
There you go, now the Bucky's good.
Yeah, this was, it was the game plan.
Well, the crazy thing is, I think Graham's had 2 players on like incredibly low HP, but Ever's now been healed up by Full Moon. Unfortunately, Full Moon can't actually heal herself, so that's not going to work out.
They've smoked it off.
A couple of players are on that flank, but I also feel like at this late in the round, you're going to have the expectation that they could have wrapped around some of these positions. You can even see they put a star down into this.
No,
but it's whether or not anybody else can get that
Bangun
little bit
7 juta
further.
lalu lihat kenyataan dunia pasti langsung
Just comes
semangat.
too late, and actually, Yumi's now managed to do so much damage. The problem is the time, but it's the cost that has been caused. That was 4 guns taken out of the last second.
Ya,
well,
tapi mahal.
Even though Zipto didn't win the round, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Because that's the thing, Tom. You say like, oh, well, they're going to think about the flank, right? Someone wrapping around.
They did put a star in there.
They were watching it. They were watching the people walking over the fountain. So if no one's come fountain and we've got a trap on shore, then no one can be in hookah, right? Wrong. And now you get punished massively. That impact is insane, and it all comes off the back of a star. Just one little smoke placed by Capricious, and that changed the round completely from what was already going to be a decent success if you got a couple to a big blow to the economy of your opposition. Ninetails 10-5, and look at the buy. It is stinky. They've got
akhir, awal itu. Kalau kuliah pakai uang sendiri gimana? Malah itu yang lebih berasa karena lu tahu susahnya cari duit. Bang trading itu scam bukan yang enggak lah. Gimana lu scam?
What was expected? What was around where it looked like there was little hope? Now there is some.
The retake over Lamb's not going to be ideal. Instead, they look towards the site. A solid start with Full Moon down already. That flash removed. Nice shot by Ever. That's the
slow down.
weakest
Nice one, guys.
Still have the Bookie inside Lambs, but if the rest of them go down, what can the Bookie do in terms of denying that defuse? In fact, being stuck inside this smoke as well, even with the Sheriff, they're not doing anything to stop it. Hold on! That shot landed through the smoke. Blind fire. Haste has to do the same, though. And it will not happen, although the diffuser gets killed.
It does happen,
They'd already
defused. A nice attempt. I think there may have also been a Gravwell that missed in that, because I think I heard it, and it didn't actually pull a player off the spike. So I don't know if they were blocking in the middle of it, but it seemed like nobody challenged until much, much later into the moment. Yeah, there you go. You can see her getting.
Yang penting sebelum ngerjain lihat meme goblin
That was why you
COC
didn't really see
dulu.
everybody running in and panicking because they didn't think it was being diffused at all. Nonetheless, what was invested, it's not too bad. But then you look at the scoreline, you look at how.
Kalau bapaknya kaya masih susah gak Prof cari duit? Iya.
It's a fake smoke. She is way past the line, but it's a whiff. She gets out though.
Yang nggak susah, bapak lu tapi yang nggak susah cari duit.
Safely towards A Heaven. Push out of Bathroom from Zipto's gotten themselves an early trade-off. Thinning out the herd, though, of the defense more so. And then even double down on, but a second player in this position shouldn't be expected. And Piety's able to easily take this back to level ground.
Point got
Op, though,
I think that's it.
no info on where it is as the Seekers go out. A lot of them going towards that B site, but it's it's dragged and rotates. Zipto have given up A. And Ninetails, where's the spike going? Okay, it is going to the A site. They're going to have a free plant.
I think the worry, though, is because nothing has been spotted by
Intinya kayak RPG, guys. Kalau bapaknya kaya, artinya lu room for error-nya itu bisa lebih banyak. Tapi kalau nggak ada privilege kayak gitu tuh room for error atau kehilangan duitnya tuh bakal hati-hati banget. Level difficulty-nya lebih susah untuk bikin salah.
But Ninetails make it out. The 6th round for them, still a long streak back needed, but it's a start.
Setelah dilihat dua tim nggak ada yang bisa diharapin lawan Jito. SRG dan juga Miban. Memang.
Slightly moving, that's what that was.
But you see when they go for that
mentok mungkin momentum di
the plant is being attempted. Dana stands out at a different angle, hearing those rotations through
Ninetails sih emang mainnya
that
gerebekan,
ultimate
cuman
is online and not wanting to get hit by the convergence path. So yes, the plants are
butuh
completely
momentum
stunned.
banget.
No option to get anywhere close
Nembak
to a
sebenarnya
kill.
XIP better.
Dana's there. And
Tapi kayak mereka tuh lebih less
team
fight gitu loh. Ya sebenarnya lebih ke berkaca ke map 1, ini map 2 oke lah. Oke palau.
Obviously with those weak weapons, Zipto saving up for the next, but the streak that is needed now gets a little bit more manageable for Ninetails. They've got big ultis as well coming online for the buy round of Zipto.
Can't do any additional damage. Chance is incredibly low. They know exactly where she is already. Even knifing the edge of the smoke. 3-3-2. Having a little bit of fun with it. Of course, was spotted earlier by the chokehold and even being wrapped on from behind. It is something they maybe need to be a little bit more careful of. 2 players lost. Maybe having a bit too much fun.
Yeah, costly. A gap of 4 rounds. You know, I am curious to see because, again, the conversation we had earlier was about that defensive side for Zipto looking solid. And I think when you're running this Yoru with the Waylay, you have a lot of opportunities in terms of how you want to approach your defensive side, whether you want to get aggressive, whether you want to play reactive. But I do think that we're missing that flair from Pearl, where constantly Zipto were pushing down, they were taking control. It didn't work a lot of the time. I'd like to see it attempted here, especially now that we've got that double duelist, and it's exactly what they go for. They've gone right down through bathroom, and they've ended up being flushed out of that position. A 5 versus 4 already as Nightfall goes in, up close. Piety inside the smoke isn't going to get too aggressive, but has players ready to dive into it, and if there's a smoke that's popped, or flash that's popped rather, there's going to be a big problem with Khan already down. Zipto needs someone to step up, and that flash was perfect.
This now becomes incredibly unlikely. Capricious at least does well, but anything from here onwards seems incredibly unlikely. Full Moon has been spotted while the cover was there. I think hopeful that anything would be found. The streak continues for Ninetails, 8th on the board.
Udah mulai kelihatan shaky,
Starting to see that momentum go, and that was the major factor with the streak in the last map, and something their coach, or the Zipto coach, will desperately want to avoid. Pause called.
Yeah, I think the other thing about this is that we didn't really see massive ultimates being baited out, but the one that they used was enough. The fact that Samsami 332 or your veto player, your veto player can't then be hit by any of the utility that's coming through. It also allows you to, for example, pop a flash inside a smoke while they're running in. Doesn't matter if they get blind because they ain't gonna lose their vision. And so for Zipto, it's a difficult round, but then you have big ultis coming into the next buy round for this squad. Baiting them out here would be great, but the pressure is starting to mount. As again, the stakes of this matchup, there's no longer a lower bracket to fall back to. This is elimination. And for Zipto,
we need to go around.
They can feel it slipping.
I got that. I need to make sure we go around sometimes, and then maybe left or right.
Can we get coach out of you?
Mantan teammate, gimana mantan teammate?
Fantastic, I can say 0 things. Nonetheless, 11-8. It's only going to be pistols once again, so another opportunity for Ninetails to close that gap even further. 3 in a row already. Another 3 needed to even things up with a map already under their belt. This one was looking like it could have been a similar scoreline, but in the other direction, but that has very quickly changed.
Yeah, attack side has been very kind to Ninetails so far. 5-player grouped up, looking to push up against the Eco. I think this is the perfect adaptation, knowing that Zipto are likely to either play the numbers, look for those trades, or playing a default when you'll always have the numbers advantage for yourself. So an easy push through to the B site. They've used one of their ultimates, which for Zipto already is a decent trade-off. They have to do nothing for that. They've now taken down Data. There's a potential weapon to be picked up. Not to fight through, but it's ever there. Now they've lost Full Moon as well.
No.
Now Sammy goes down, and this round has crumbled for Ninetails. They need a hero play up against the Eco.
Only one has been retrieved, but already they're trying to use that Cosmic Divide, and it forces them in for the fight. Con with a couple of nasty shots to close out the round, and I don't know what the coach of Zipto said, but I really want to know now, because that has pulled off a MasterCard Thrifty to take them to 12.
That's a shame. I think Ninetails did everything right to start this off, and then even throwing through the Armageddon to get them into elbow. It maybe feels like a little much, but then you have to think about what they were up against. They knew there was a Cosmic Divide in play, so the easy thing to do against the Eco is to play back on long, to take ranged fights, to use a little bit of utility to run that clock down. And instead, they go for this adaptation of, okay, we're going to play a little ahead of it. We're going to try to force some of those fights early, but what that ends up doing is just giving Zipto these, like, XV1 fights. The same thing that happened in Elbow, it happens on the site. Ninetails are not trading, and Zipto, they also weren't trading because they weren't dying, but you could see that there was always 2 players going for the swing.
I want to point out as well, I think that's the first time that Grams has used the Dimensional Drift in an Eco again, and it's actually paid off this time. So was able to get them a little bit of information around some of those closer angles, and I definitely think that helped them out on those initial site fights. Nonetheless, same opportunity on the other side. It is Ninetails now taking themselves a pause. They managed 3 in a row just moments ago. Now they need to go for 4. Of course, economy through the roof. And interestingly, you mentioned some of the aggressive pushes that Zipto were going for. Well, the attack side feel the need to pull in an operator to try and deny them.
I see that for one of the first times, Yoru and Awele grouped up. Seems like it's just a high, medium, and low setup over on that A side. But it's B where the pressure's coming through. The thing is, it's all a ruse to try to get the aggression out. You can see that the trap is covering off that left side push if they do go down on mid. But then on that right side, you've got 2 players holding, waiting, the op, wanting to get an opening pick as they push down through Bath. Utility coming out over towards this B site confirms that there's still at least 1 sitting outside of B. And for Zipto right now, they've got no real actionable information in terms of where this play is coming through, but Ninetails don't really have direction just yet, because their hope is that somebody can be caught off guard, and so far that is far from the case.
Real has been shot. Spike
kamu siapa tidak ada.
Looking at the fact that Dana's the one with
gue adalah kalian semua.
Here is that potential piece of pressure, and that's a freebie, but the trade from Yumi! A 2-for-1 combo deal that might have just ended the map. Con now with another. It leaves Ever with everything to try and do. A 1 versus 4, 25 seconds. And so much to try, but nothing will come through. It is Con to close. Zipto have done the same on their opponent's map choice. We are going to 3.
and rightfully so for Zipto. They didn't show up on map number 1, but now it looks like we've got a game on our hands. We need to go all the way to split,
guys.
the decider, the
Map
third
pilihan
map in this series,
pada
to find
giveaway.
out which of these teams will be leaving Seoul with their head held low. We're going there.
Jadi yang menang siapa, guys? Memang wanita susah banget ditembak. Shoot it! Shoot it!
I guess you weren't expecting Dana to be up there.
Shoot it!
So looks a little silly. Wow! Okay, Dana. The position, they're not going for a knife.
They're giving it to her. No, they're giving her the ace.
Okay.
They're giving her the ace!
Break.
Keep it on the hush. Keep it on the hush. Yeah. On the hush. On the hush. Yeah.
What you want?
Sorry to bother. I don't mean to be blowing your cover. No, we probably shouldn't take this over.
Hey, this is Graham from Zipto, and I'm passing this mic to someone who can't sleep without hugging their teddy bear.
I'm passing this mic to someone who is 6.5 feet tall.
I'm passing this mic to who is away bullying me in practice.
I'm passing this mic to someone who doesn't have a toenail.
I'm passing this mic to someone who has receding hairline.
Go Zipto!
I have a couple of questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Did we just out someone not having a toenail? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I heard.
And the receding hairline too?
That's it.
And then Grams doesn't even get to reply. She's just,
Go Zipto!
Go Zipto!
I've been exposed. Right, let's talk about what we just saw, because that was a subversion of all expectations.
Sure.
I think Ninetails looks so good. I mean, we talked about it prior to the map starting. Mimi, there were tears.
I love your question, but who are you passing the mic to?
You. That's why I said your name when I asked you the question.
Then I'll answer. Look at that shot that we just saw. And then you
Tears
see them
to
being
cheers.
taunted by Ninetails, the crying coming out, and then they turn this around and you see them all
Ditenangin langsung GG.
back in. That takes some real mental fortitude as a competitor to go from that real low to feeling like it's out of your grasp, that you're about to go home empty-handed, to then turn it around and be smiling, laughing, having a fun time on that stage. It's exactly the tough turnarounds that Zipto needed to make, and I think they can be really proud of being able to do so in such a short period of time.
Well, remember, she almost got knifed. in the
On
pistol.
round one.
Yeah, she almost got knifed, and we thought, oh,
it was over.
God, it's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah, we thought it was going to be over, and I mean, it's hard for teams in general to reset, and you see her crying as
Apa
well.
pendapat lu
Not even
tentang
going
One
to the
Punch
coach
Man
finding out what they were
season
going to
3?
do in this
Gua
map
baru
too,
nonton 2
and
episode
still make it
atau
win,
3.
make it a win, having fun, and you know everything that you could expect for that map was exactly what the team needed to go into this third one.
You know, we saw that
Baru nyampe mana ya?
the player was crying on stage. What we didn't see and what we were told after was that the team never left the stage. They literally just stayed up there the entire time, and whatever they thought about and whatever they
Baru
were
nyampe
told,
Genos dipukul kah?
Normally teams go all the way back. They have time to talk to their coach and reset off the stage. That is unusual, but they made it work.
It works.
Yeah, Grams. Dan, I want to get your thoughts on Grams because Grams was stellar in that map. One of the main reasons that we're even talking
Sedih oi,
about
GC sekarang tidak ada TKD nih.
Even in that map one, Grams was pretty incredible on that Euro and was a
Nggak
best
usah
player, even if they were losing that so one-sided to Ninetails. But going into the second one, on the attacking side as well, with the operator, with the rifle as well, incredible at finding those first openings. Right now, she's 9-1 in first kills in the series, and just in this map alone, it was 5 of them that she was able to find. So there's where you can understand the value that she's able to bring, and this is what Pacific know her for that operator back in the day when she was playing with the Jet, when she was playing with the Chamber as well, and now she's able to do it with the Euro too.
And you see how good her statistics were even when they lost on Pearl 4-13.
Kapan main game random lagi minggu depan, guys?
Plus 25 in that one. In my opinion, the most instrumental player in Zipto getting that win. So a huge sign to see her back. And with the style they play here on Pond, they were going for a ton of these fast rounds, quick taking fights in showers, quick taking a lot of execs onto the A site, and she gets put in tough positions sometimes where she's teleporting out into the open and in these very unfavorable fights, but so consistently she is getting out of those situations, confidently winning them, and then just keeping it going for the team.
Yeah, we saw Pearl, we also saw Bind, and now this
Try to
series,
variety,
for
you
one
know.
of these two teams, the tournament life will end on
Hope
split.
soon.
And I think
Kalau
really, given
variety-nya
what we saw on
rame,
map 1 and then given the extreme juxtaposition
Subatan
of
will
what
be
we saw on
good,
map
you
2,
know.
it's really hard to kind of lean a certain way, Mimi. Is there anybody that you even feel you can comfortably say has momentum going into this last map?
I mean, I do think you have to give the nod to Zipto, because now that tough task gets turned on its head, right? It was Zipto who had to massively rally back after a brutal map 1. Now it's that same task for Ninetails going into map 3. But I think both these teams have proved a deeper resiliency than we maybe thought they had after bouncing back from their initial losses, after
Main
bouncing
Elden
back
Ring,
from
bro.
map 1 for Zipto.
Wah,
It's
itu
also then
takes
gonna
time
require
itu
a lot
emang
of
cocoknya
cycling,
pas
because
Subaton
Zipto,
aja
they
kayak
haven't even
gitu-gitu.
shown this map since it came back into the fray. So big questions of which way they'll head with their comp.
And without knowing what the two teams were going to be playing on Pearl, that's where Ninetails were able to close it out so dominant in that map number 1. So going into the third map, going to the decider, facing elimination, you have to be looking at what each one of them have been cooking in this map of split that we haven't seen in such a long time. Once again, for Ninetails to reset from that last map, to me is going to be 3-3-2 on this Euro once again that we're starting to see, setting up Dana. That last
Aduh,
one that
Roman,
was
gua
playing
merasa
was on the race.
apa ya,
She struggles a little bit with,
Busuk.
and on this way she's most confident.
Kalau map-map
It's
kompleks
interesting to me that
macam
Zipto is
Bind.
so committed to this double ball smoke kind of play style. They played it on Bind as well. Despite the changes in the game, I think Viper is still incredibly strong. But you do give a little bit more flexibility to Grams. I think part of the idea is wanting to play double smokes, keep the util of the Astra, but let Grams still be a playmaker on that Omen. Looking at the other agents as well, seeing that Vito locked in yet again. He's had a not super great win rate this tournament thus far, but I think this is a great map for him, especially with the repositions with the teleports on defense.
And it's one that we haven't really seen enough. There's some opportunities early on for Zipto, especially starting on the defense, for this Vito to get some value, and also for Grams that you know that even if she's going to be on the Omen, she will be holding this operator. She has done it in the past, and she will continue to do it. That was the one condition on the last map, and it can be that one condition to move forward in the tournament.
Dana and 3-3-2 were outstanding map 1 where they dominated. They're back again, Doug, to try and defend their life in front of their home crowd.
It's map 3, and one Pacific squad will be the first team sent home from the competition for the very last time this series. Here's Mitch and Tom on the call.
Thank you, Doug. And our analyst desk, yes, split our final map between these teams, and some fairly one-sided maps, although there was definitely more signs of life from Ninetails over on Bind. Now we come to this map. We've got a Veto on one side. We've got that same double dive coming out, but it's Ninetails now putting Sammy on that Yoru, bringing the Waylay through. I do think, though, starting on the defense with Veto, we're going to really get to see how much impact this agent has. They said on the desk, hasn't been a great win rate so far at this event, but you think about Split, so many choke points that you want to burst out of with utility, and Veto's great for stopping you.
Yeah, I think it can be good. I think, off the top of my head, I'd look at Ninetails comp and say I prefer it, but just off the fact that I think the Viper is so good at sort of like controlling that mid position, and I feel like it's difficult to beat, especially on the defense, and also all the sort of space you can take elsewhere. But I'm interested to see what they've got. That's not a bad start. Gone already. An opening pick. There are a lot of players waiting in heaven.
A big battle off the back of Paranoia, but now one back in the other direction. Already damage coming in from Ninetails as they take a triple on Sammy. But look at the HP, Ever and Haste so low.
They're going all the way back.
This Ghost could easily make them into Phantoms, but they're nowhere to be seen. They ran back towards this B site. The plant should be found, and Khan should have a difficult retake. One thing just to note as well, I like already what we're seeing from Ninetails. That wall here in the pistol, just to allow them to siphon into the A side if you're playing further back around screens, like playing the information game. Obviously, though, the one downside is they got caught early.
Oh, timing here is going to be everything. If she gets this right, it could be the backstab.
Wow, the plan is for tower, chat.
It could be what loses them the round.
That's it.
The high HP player with an opportunity, and that's the opportunity, but fair enough, never mind.
Flag.
Can't be wrong. Ever will win the fight on her own, and Haste, well, she was very far behind, but it didn't matter in the end. Ninetails, after what was an opening pick in their opponent's favor, have managed to convert that pistol off the back of 3-3-2.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really was. 3-3-2, Sammy in there with the triple to open things up, to turn this into their favor. Look how much damage had been done, as we said. Left in that 1v2, yet still Zipto's player, Khan, had more HP. And without a big performance like that, it would have went the other way. Pistol round, but we've seen the second rounds, I feel like, not even just in this matchup, but in this tournament, be a lot more difficult to convert than what, I suppose, historically is represented. We'll see if Zipto can throw a spanner in the works. They have gone for the Marshall, but that is on middle, along with the majority of the squad, leaving only one in the form of Khan, and make that none.
Yeah, flank coming, but it's okay. I was going to say it's going to be met with a wall, but it's not. It's going to be met by
no way.
3-3-2 instead. Looking to try and farm up those orbs. Has not farmed up the orbs. In fact, has somewhat delivered a gun, but it's going to be Yumi sectioned off from the team. Eventually, they'll look to now group up together. That gun has been taken by Graham. Still utility. Nice shot from Full Moon, but it's going to be the trade back. It's getting a little bit dicey. Very costly at least, but eventually Dana is there on her feet once again. And sure, they'll lose a gun or two, but they've converted the round at least.
Yeah, and in the end, being able to carry forward the Vandal, the Bulldog as well, it's something. But yeah, I think Zipto can be very happy with the amount of damage that they got. And it very much does come down to that. You know, if that's one of the players with the pistol, fair enough. But going down there, there's no chance your teammate goes forward to get that rifle. I mean, they could have tried, but the player on the other side, I think it was Capricious coming from ramp would take it down. Probably more so with how it ended after the bump in the road. For Ninetails, decently strong buy coming into this one. Still a fair bit of credits in the back pocket. Only Full Moon that has a real weak, well, actually, Full Moon has a stronger weapon, I think, than Ever does. Oh, that's a nice dive by Dana. A nice spray by Ever. Even with the Stinger able to get that done on medium range. And Ninetails are in a 5v3.
The opener from Dana was good, but you could see there was an attempted recovery from Zipto, and that attempted recovery ended up toppling a second domino.
Cool.
Okay, well, TP, but I think that has almost definitely been noted. Yep, the haste is immediately gone in and just obliterated Piety on the other side. Con with a chance, but Full Moon just better. And now only one standing. A nice attempt! Oh, Yumi! That was impressive. Very impressive. But it doesn't matter. The round has still gone the other way. Can we get the coaches up again? I want to see if they're still as chill after that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another, what seemed to be wide margin that comes down to a nail biter. I mean, the fact that Yumi, we highlighted this, you know, in the previous map, that like, oh, Yumi looks so much more comfortable now. The waylay really suiting her, especially in the first half. This is ridiculous, though. Nothing to do with the agent in play. That's all just aim.
Masih
The
kelihatan
Guardian fired
palanya.
off, but again, yeah, it amounts to next to nothing. The economy is fine for Ninetails, and more importantly, this is their chance to really build up an economic advantage. They're up against pistols, 4 of which are sheriffs. They've lost to that before. Zipto also have a big old rocket launcher in the back pocket, thanks to Yumi making that big play, and that's, I suppose, where the impact could be found of that play in the previous round.
But they also love using their ultimate.
3-0 chat.
I think that's
Apakah jadi Hoam setelah ngebantai di map kedua? Come on, exciting, give some.
Because I don't think the success has really been there too
entertainment
often, I can understand
value.
The moment arises, they believe that they can turn around. The problem is, 5 of them are on A, and 4 of the attackers are currently going towards B. So odds are, this is not going to be their round.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do it when you make that stack and they run into you. It's another thing entirely when it comes down to playing the retake. But again, you go towards the B site, you play out of heaven, you fire the showstopper, you can grab one, but in order for... No, you're not going to... Yeah, now they're eco. There they are, my goodness. But the thing for Zipto is they want a pick or two, I'd imagine. I would be very surprised if they just come in leading with that showstopper. And if they do, there'll be an immediate response from Dana, I'd imagine.
I'm a little surprised.
Surprise, surprise.
Right, they've gone push it, and well, there you go. It's going to be a clean-up for Haste. I guess clearly wanting to make sure this is a cleaner round than some of the previous. They lost a few players in the late, so they were happy to commit that convergence path with the potential to maybe build up other ults in the process. Maybe that was the goal. I guess as well, if you expect, maybe the expectation there was they're all just going to die to the spike. And we want those orbs on an ult that maybe will have more impact. Maybe they want to get the Dimensional Drift online. Maybe they want to get the Steel Garden online.
Lu
The Shadows was the one I would have gone for, but hey, who knows? Maybe Haste has got a set play I've never seen before. They won't mind too much. They're 4-0, economy booming, and we're waiting to see if Zipto have any form of response or if we've gone right back to Pearl.
Who's next?
Well, the ult will be popped right off. Rip from Sam Sammy straight into heaven. From the shadows, the backside, and then amongst the chaos, Dana just takes a free pick, but they haven't spotted Piety. Unfortunately, nothing will come of it. Nothing beyond a sliver of health being removed from, I think it was Dana. Everyone else in a very healthy position.
I mean, Ninetails no initiator, guys.
They have a showstopper that I can't see them investing because
you know you need OP. Yes, they have XIP. Tapi kalau salah nebak sama aja.
Even if it finds a double kill, they're still on even footing. If they find a pick or two, it's different. And I see Full Moon going up towards heaven, but the timing is perfect. That's the off down, and they've given it up. That huge investment.
Wah, itu coachnya
the
lagi boker,
operator,
mau
the 2
taktikal gimana
rifles,
itu?
while their players have put their credits down to flat balances, and they lose it for nothing. I'm not surprised there's a timeout from Zipto. 5-0 down, especially with a round like that. You've got to go back to the drawing board. This is tournament life on the line.
Yeah, they're getting blitzed as well. Like it feels like some of it's a little bit whiffy, but a lot of it is just they are really struggling to deal with the calmness on the other side. The sheer level of aggression that's coming through from Dana in 3-3-2. They have been phenomenal. Like, bear in mind, Dana's been diving in first every single round. She's died once. Like that shouldn't be happening. Like, she can get out of there, but she hasn't been. Like, that's the damning factor. She's been taking the space. She's been keeping the space. And she's normally been finding frags on the other side. Coach again. Hopefully some wise words to be had, but once more, the economy is not really going to hold up for Zipto, and as we've seen, once Ninetails seem to get that momentum in their favor, that confidence, they have been nigh on unstoppable. Sure, they don't have too many ults to play with. That's probably where the major advantage could come into this round for Zipto, with 3 ults, 1 away, and 2 ults already online, including that showstopper, but it is finding the situation to use them. And when they've lost the opening kill, seemingly every time, I think maybe bar 1, it doesn't really matter that much.
Sengaja banget nih menyerang mental Capricious yang fragile.
Seems to have worked wonders for them at the moment.
What a play.
There was big commitments from them in the previous round in terms of ultimates, but the reality is, for their opponents, being now left onto Sheriffs, that was the perfect time to use them. A big swing round that hasn't swung anything in Zipto's favor. Dana already in. Player up top, though. Could have a freebie. Capricious in with a chance. It's Khan to find it down below. They don't know about Capricious.
Wah, udah keburu masuk. Gawat.
The radar up high is Khan and Capricious combined deliver what could be Zipto's
like
first round. On such a weak
investment.
That's a huge catch by Haste, but more is needed. And on 40 HP, even the Sheriff is deadly. The body shot needed, but the head connected by Capricious gives a MasterCard thrifty to Zipto.
He might be the greatest coach of all time. Like, I'm genuinely starting to believe. That's the second time that we've seen that in 2 maps where the coach of Zipto, Sia, has taken a pause, and then they've won an eco round. Like, that genuinely is nuts. And well, I think a lot of it is Capricious alongside Con being able to do magnificent work with what is a light buy. The fact is, though, this needs to be the start of something. The last time we saw them play this map, it was a strong defensive half. The strong defensive half has probably gone, and Dana
it's time to come back.
Definitely not afraid.
Baru mau ngomong,
Goes for the early fight. Both come out standing, and this time Graham's peak has worked.
Tetap kah? Udah dapat entry nih. Jangan blunder gak sih, gak ada inisiator ini Ninetails, masa lu gak bisa comeback? Yang bener aja.
Square one. You could see that they attempted even some deeper mid control, but now the call is just a reset. Group is for push to the side. If they can get in, it's huge. They have a Viper's Pit to lock it down afterwards, and although there's a lot that Zipto can put in response, with 4 ultis online, that pit is still going to be a real headache to deal with. But getting there is a different story. There's 3 players in position here. Zipto have made the right read, right time, right place. With Full Moon on 13 HP, oh, even the showstopper's going to be put in. That'll certainly swing the round into their hands. I mean, Sammy would need a godlike performance, and it won't be happening today. 5-2 for Zipto. And they do that, saving most of their ults. I mean, I don't even mind the showstopper going through.
I think
just
they used Evolution as well.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah, that was thrown in. That was the one that perplexed me a little bit. it was towards the end of the round, but I guess, again, just wanting to make sure that conversion comes through.
Negation ready.
Either way, second round.
Hati-hati nge-jinx lagi.
Still pretty good for Ninetails. Sure, they'll be 3-2 struggling a little bit in terms of the finances. This will be the big start, though. At early operator, a lot of
tapi masalahnya emang harus pakai operator nih, nggak ada inisiator. Burst. Capricious. Nah.
Sammy's in the ground as well. The re-swing a little bit much, biting off more than she can chew, and now the Viper's Pit's going to be in play, but the Steel Garden put in. Yumi's up close, but won't find anything. Full Moon with a headshot delivered. The Pit didn't even
baru ngomong tempo kecolong 2. No, Full Moon. It's a bad timing.
On the site ever put under that pressure, but delivering is Khan from that sideline. A third for Zipto. It's a bit of a crazy round with a lot invested, but Ninetails again going to be stopped.
Sabar gak sih Zipto udah menang 2.
Yeah, I don't, maybe the coach had words directly for Capricious, because ever since then she has stepped up, feeling confident in herself, but it was the kill there from Paiti, just running through, taking out the pit, and it still came very close to the end. Haste on the late lurk with a good opportunity. That streak of 5 diminished now to just 2 in the lead. Still a purchase. There is a stinger in the mix. Dana has been struggling, but that's a great shot.
Another from Full Moon. So they go towards the A side here. I can see the Heaven control being taken. They know that Khan's been playing here a lot with the operator now in hand. They can play this one nice and slow. I mean, 1:15 on the clock.
Khan shot the decoy.
Tipe mana Suzu.
And flank control being contained by the Viper, or the Vice wall rather. Not the Viper wall. It's not going to contain much. I like this idea. Just pump brakes. Every angle. And know that Zipto are the ones that have to make a move. Being 2 players behind, but well, that clock is running down, and Zipto not showing anything to the attackers. Eventually, the gamble's going to have to be taken.
Yeah, with 2 players in the right place, though. Like, there's not many ways that they could win this, but this is definitely one of them. Flank also about to come in. Flash has been spotted with the spam. Starts to do a little bit of damage. Constant well, though. Buying some time. Capricious with another. That flank still coming in, but it might be denied by the wall. A push through the smoke would be a gamble, but 25 seconds, it's patient from Graham's. Already taking down another. This was a 3v5 just moments ago, and Capricious has got one more, still continuing that run of form. Haste had a nice attempt in the last. Is looking for it once again, 70 HP, but doesn't know where that second player is just yet. Capricious has been making that slow move around, looking to group up. Graham's maybe going alone. It's a spam, and it is Haste! A Red Bull clutch to save them. That round almost slipped away, but for her.
Ding!
Oh, that was a big play. 10-5 for Haste as well. I mean, it's been a good map overall, but that one there was Zipto's foot in the door.
You guys already winning. Gue kira sih tadi jujur udah menang Zipto sih guys.
Keep their economy in play, keep the chances of an even or even a victorious half in play.
Mr. Kids.
But Haste just on fire in that play, and it's that fire that keeps Ninetails' brittle heart warm. They came in as the underdogs, a squad that people didn't expect much from. Up against Zipto in the past, it's what, 5 out of 6 maps have gone the way of Zipto, and yet here they are. A probable lead at the half with an eco that they're up against again, though it's going to be an individual with a rifle taking on the pistols. It doesn't go as badly as before. Full moon down, but nobody there to pick up that rifle with Khan in the ground. It's a 4v2. And up against the Sheriff,
angle.
let this one slip.
Banyak nih.
Just gonna go for info. Even a little stun thrown in, just to make it a bit worse for Capricious. No chance in this scenario, and Dana back to feeling confident once again, back to her feet as well. 7-3. The 3-round streak of Zipto coming to an abrupt end after that 1v2. Although they'll have a purchase, they are playing just to get themselves closer to their opponent. They've already lost the first half.
So I'm looking out at the stage every time as well, Tom, and there it is. Yeah, you actually get to see it in the replay. Sammy keeps standing up every time they win around. She's looking across the stage. She's asking them what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what time they want to fly tomorrow.
Aduh, kalau tempo begini mau ngomong lu punya senjata. Sushi juga ini, sushi. See the information. No one. Hold.
The dimensional drift got
the
them
backline.
Now the play into heaven is
Almost you throwing. No way.
That's giving Zipto a chance.
How? It should be 1
A little
kill.
bit more than one, but the slight hesitation was enough for a trade. Ever just goes pushing them. Tries to end around on her
cuma
own. But it will just be the trade once again.
Wah, tapi ke
stun perfectly placed to allow a 1v1 for Dana. She's been winning those. The wraparound comes in again, and it's left all onto Yuumi. Now knowing, well, where one of her opponents is, needs to win this fight, and does. Maybe able to just get that defused at least to half. It's going to have to be the move to TP across, but it is quick enough for a 3-3-2. an 8th round onto the board, largely because of
Cakep
her.
satu rate-nya, nggak bisa double pick.
Dominant looking half.
Walaupun blunder Ninetails.
I think it's almost scarier when Sammy isn't on her feet after getting that 3K. Just looked locked in. Such a big catch by Graham. There was no chance for this. If that flank was allowed to complete, you have one or maybe even more kills coming off the back of it. And right there, it felt though at the end like Yuumi had a chance. That TP, if it was faked out, could have seen the round fall apart and fall into the hands of Zipto. Instead, a lead guaranteed by at least 4. Ninetails looking for that little bit extra. Drop down from Dana's good, and Capricious completely caught off guard. No punish from heaven.
No punish from heaven.
You
see, udah di screen.
As well. It's
Ini bakal
not being watched. It's a freebie. 9-3 at the halftime. They're on their feet again. And Zipto just a few rounds from being sent home.
GG prop gawe dulu. Terbobok-bobok. Ya, si maling ember lagi, los ember. Itu namanya menyerang mental, bukan tengil guys. Namanya menyerang mental. Kalau lu nggak punya mentality, pasti langsung down. You know.
Well, this game's not over yet, Tom, but how far from over? Well, that's what we're about to find out. 9 on the board for Ninetails. They have looked unbelievable in that first half. As we get into our Coinbase Econ report, no surprise, it's Dana, especially with those last few rounds, who is our highlight.
Yeah, the 16-year-old has been flying high. A lot of openers. There was a little bit in the middle of the map where I was like, okay, maybe this is going to fall apart, and she came right back swinging once again. And I'll be honest, other than just some of the individual diff we've seen, the comp diff looks crazy. Like, they had such easy entries in with that double duelist, and I've not really seen anything in terms of the denial of that pace. It might be a little bit more difficult to run those same sort of executes when it comes to the defensive side, so that might be the hope for Zipto, but I hope they've got some ideas, because in that first half, they kind of got blitzed.
Without a doubt, and I think on that defense, for me at least, that's where Vito's going to bring a lot of the value, and it didn't look like there was much, I mean, especially against this composition. Ninetails often getting past that ability before throwing down Dana's stun, and Zipto, his pistol, it could be everything. They're starting it towards this A site, where it looks like it will be a pretty passive hold from Ninetails, even when challenged. I just expect Ever to back off. Their game plan on the defense was that there'd be a fight around B or mid, so they're most likely going to have to play that retake.
Opportunity to get into the post bomb, but I really don't mind it. I said it would be difficult to try those executes. Well, they are going to try those executes. They're going to go for a 5v5 retake. Definitely going to be a little bit more difficult with all of the personnel.
Butuh King Lilo tuh tiba-tiba tadi chasing-nya enggak.
The first point of contact.
Iya, ngasih jari tengah.
And it's not getting any better. Slowed as well was Con. Yumi, though, at
No,
least
XIP.
bringing a little bit
Recovery,
back,
come on.
trying
Recovery,
to
come
fight this
on.
one forward into a 2 versus 2.
No,
As Gino
no.
goes down and getting a little bit more troublesome for that
Nah.
defense. They are desperately low. Graham still going
Nah.
forward. Only one more left to find. Within the smoke she is. And that's the lifeline grasped with both hands. Graham's with a triple to give them a 4th.
Graham's with a much-needed triple indeed. I mean, if that goes the other way, we're already thinking about booking flights, but for Zipto, they've still got a chance in this one. The pistol round is theirs. I expect a big investment coming into the next. And I guess, you know, the thing is, though, for Ninetails, as we've said a couple times, when it comes to double duelists, maybe we expected to do better in this meta than it did in the previous in terms of putting up those attacking rounds. But the reality is, it still has a lot to say on this defense. Zipto, they need to avoid what has been a
It's time
pretty big
chat
part of this
untuk
series so
comeback.
far, which is those low buys having high impact. And with the investment they've made, a couple of picks for Ninetails will end up having an effect.
Well, yeah, I also want to see if they're going to mirror what they did in the pistol and play a lot of retake because of how strong that double dive is. I'll be interested. Nice shot already, though. 3-3-2.
3-3-2 ngamuk. Sam E.
A fairly heavy investment. Guns across the board. Zipto really can't afford too many more casualties, and they're now walking into the stack.
Right into it. The flash has faded already. This is going to be so dangerous with Yumi. Dropped so easily. And now, Full Moon strikes from the side. Graham's another big play needed. And nothing will be found. A MasterCard Thrifty. A nail in the coffin and dirt piled on top. Ninetails. That's so much better than winning the pistol. That feels like the beginning of the end of Zipto. In Game Changers Championship.
That couldn't have gone any worse. Like, you full invest into 5 guns, and then you lose to what is a sheriff and some classics, and you give all of those guns over to the other side. That is painful.
That is painful, chat.
On one side, I'd almost guarantee it may on this. Look at where Full Moon's currently playing and who's pushing up.
A Judge in the smoke. Nasty stuff against the Eco. It's just gonna farm.
That's so painful. And Persona gara-gara kalah grand final nih
kayaknya. She was in danger, but very much the danger herself. 11-4 in flawless fashion.
Capricious
and for Zipto, if they go down like this, the memory of today is gonna linger like a tattoo's kiss. This is devastating, and a timeout coming in from the attackers as they know this is their last chance here in Seoul.
That's I cancel my appointment to see this game. Well, I hope, as probably a lot of the people are here, you are a Ninetails fan, because if so, that was a good choice. If you're one of the few Zipto that travel, then maybe it's a bad day for you. 11-4. Operator in, economy, as we already mentioned, through the roof. A hefty lead of 7 rounds and the chance for an all-Korean team to taste victory at the Game Changers Championship. For someone as young as Dana, that is a dream that many have to wait a long, long time. Doing it at 16 would be incredibly impressive, but it's a young team overall. A lot to look forward to in the future, but potentially a lot to look forward to right now. The team that bested them both times they met in Pacific. Looking
serious look. This is defense, you know, and double duelist
after the pause,
with the operator.
As I said, those
how you win this? Ini JXQ harus stepping up. Beberapa kill dan showstopper.
Otherwise, this game is over.
Even then, there were a couple times followed by a victory and then an immediate resurgence. This has to be the start of something special for Zipto. Ninetails managed 12 in a row over on Pearl, so it's not like it's impossible. But what we've seen so far,
serius kamu. Excel RR 1129.
Rifles for the attackers. Everybody
no
towards
room
this
for
B-side.
mistake.
Graham's already making a play.
You play crazy! Wow, Graham.
It's giving them the leg up. And it looks like they're going to sweep the feet out from under Ninetails. A 2 versus 4. Dana running it down, doing damage, but not finding the kill. Haste, though, is quick to convert with Yuumi down. And with Con low, one thing in her favor is that the ult is in her hand. A one-shot weapon looking up top for a kill. In fact, holding that wraparound close is Piety.
Good smoke! Haste, good smoke!
It's left into the hands of Dana, but the ult finally strikes
Sorry
from
bang,
the back
dukung
corner.
siapa dukung yang menang, Ninetails.
A close round, though, nonetheless, and we need to see these continue to fall into Zipto's favor.
Yeah, unfortunately, the coach of Zipto can't take a pause every single round, so that was the last, in fact, that he's going to be able to take.
Wrong call.
Unless they can force Ninetails to make one of their own. Of course.
Nggak ada tim Jepun, nggak ada benih. Parah kan?
Still going to be coming back up. I was looking at the HUD, wondering if it had broken, because we have an almost identical buy once again. They kept the judge, they brought it up once more. Clearly something Full Moon wants to be using, but just happened to be delivered in round number 2.
They've heard the off ringing out towards B main.
GG banget ada yang IGN-nya Con. Nah, terbaik itu IGN Con.
And you saw it there. They knew there was a player in the corner. The grab wall was about to pull Full Moon out, but the judge has repositioned. Sat up close in heaven, and just around the corner, stuck now as Yuumi's completely surrounded, but the jump is very much there for Zipto, very much there for Yuumi. Expects the second player, but doesn't catch the kill. Haste does really well to convert that, and now they go walking back into the operator. It's a collateral for Semi. Shaking her head, telling them they're not getting onto her site. Graham's the last one alive, and not for long. Ninetails, the underdog.
Kalau di tim Game Changer ini ada titipan Pemda gak? Ada.
To close out not just this map,
ada titipan Pemda, ada Ordal, ada Influencer, ada bagian Nice, ada Transformer, ada Megatron, ada
and what a time it would be for history
Megalodon,
to tell a different story.
ada Raven, ada Kucing, ada Meong, ada Agus, ada Dong, Piercing Shot, semua ada.
Use the dimensional drift. Like, she genuinely doesn't give a damn about that ultimate. We'll throw it in whenever she can. Post round, post game.
Kemarin teriaknya Megalodon dan Megafon. Wah, that's it Kak Chat. That's it Kak Chat. XIP dibalas Kak Chat. One spam game. GGNT.
Everybody on Ninetails wants a piece of the pie, wants a piece of that first victory. Graham's has spotted one, but can't hit the shot. The reaction from Full Moon, and the remaining 2 will fall like flies. It is Ninetails to win versus an opponent they struggled before in front of their home fans.
Oh my God!
Here in Seoul.
A historic victory for Ninetails, for the Korean scene as well, and doing it on that stage in front of all of their fans. It's gotta feel incredible.
Yellow QB kuat sekali.
Up against Zipto, everybody thought they knew. We'd seen this story before, more than once. But a different team stepped down on that stage. What a time to find their true form, and now there's no telling how far they can go.
Yeah, it's gonna get tougher from here, there's no doubt about it. There's some heavy hitters in the mix, but the fact is they've already faced their first demon, their regional demon. And we saw it before. Dana was asked the question by Jan of whether or not it will be an all-Pacific final. She said no, even before the tournament began. Maybe some foreshadowing from the youngster, but what an incredible step up they've had from their first day. And now, as you said, like the sky's the limit. When you beat a team that you couldn't before, everything else will feel a little bit easier, as you won't have played any of the other teams before. For Zipto, it is heartbreak. It is a tough day, a match. I think they know that they definitely could have taken the victory, a match that they fought tooth and nail for, showed resilience in that second. but for a team that was picked up at the beginning of this year to replace a titan, I would say, of the Pacific team, it definitely shown that they can perform, but today's day belongs to the hometown heroes.
And you can see it there as they say their final goodbyes. It's a completely different set of people down on the stage versus on the server. But for Ninetails, this is a historic victory, a big day for Korean VALORANT in the GCC here in Seoul. Let's go over to the stage for the Verizon post-match interview where Jen is standing by for Full Moon.
나인테일즈가 GCC 첫 승을 거둡니다. 승리 축하드립니다. 자, 불분 선수 인터뷰하게 이쪽으로 와주세요. 여기 서주시고 이쪽에 보시면 됩니다. Hey guys, that was Ninetails picking up their first GCC victory. Now I have Full Moon alongside me to talk about it. Now congratulations, Full Moon, your first GCC win. Now against Zipto, the last 2 times you played them, you lost, but this time you knocked them out of champions. Now, how did this plot twist become? How did you guys twist the plot? 승리 너무너무 축하드리고요. 사실 지난번 2번 만났을 때 패배를 했다가 이번에는 아예 본인 손으로 집토를 탈락시켰습니다. 오늘 근데 생존이 달린 경기기도 했기 때문에 걱정도 많았고 또 컨디션도 너무 좋지 않아가지고 좀 개인적으로도 마음고생을 많이 했을 것 같은데 지난번 2번의 만남에 비해서 이번 점 어떤 점이 달랐는지 그리고 경기 마친 승리 소감도 들어보고 싶네요.
By favor meta memang
일단 집토를 저희가 2번 패배하고 나서 저희가 느꼈던 게 다시 만나면 진짜 이길 수 있겠다 이런 다들 마인드를 가지고 있었고 또한 집토를 많이 만났다 보니까 그들의 플레이 스타일이라든지 이런 걸 더 잘할 수 있었기 때문에 저희가 그 점을 좀 더 보완해가지고 준비했기 때문에 이길 수 있지 않았나 싶습니다. 오늘 몸이 좋지 않아서 목소리가 인게임 브리핑에서 막 안 나오니까 이게 막 콜을 하는데도 목이 이렇게 갈라지는 것 때문에 걱정을 많이 했는데도 불구하고 팀원들도 다 잘 따라와주고 해가지고 이긴 것 같습니다. 너무 행복합니다 그냥.
Well, after we faced Zipto for the last 2 times, we just felt like if we ever had a rematch, then we can definitely beat them. And even today, I was feeling a bit under the weather, so my voice was kind of gone, and I was kind of concerned about how my calls would work with my voice being so raspy and stuff. But I just had my teammates who got my back, and they were doing their job, and I was doing mine. And I'm really, really grateful that we were able to pick up this win tonight. For 4 years, though, and through multiple rosters, that's how many years and how long it took for you to pick up this win in GCC. So the type of perseverance that you showcase in your journey, it just says a lot about how much you wanted this. So what kept you going after all those years? 사실 4년이 걸렸잖아요, 여기까지 오기. 그리고 정말 다양한 팀들에서 이 첫 승을 위해서 정말 많이 노력했던 풀문 선수인데 좀 꽃 피우기 전까지 그 기다림이 가장 어렵고 힘들잖아요. 포기하지 않고 좀 믿고 여기까지 올 수 있었던 비결은 어디에 있었을까요?
아무래도 솔직히 그만두고 싶고 힘든 순간도 너무 많았는데 이제 주변 팬분들이나 이제 가족들, 친구들이 옆에서 너 여전히 잘하는데 너무 아쉽지 않냐 이런 식으로 저를 잡아주기도 했고 이제 많이 좋아해주기 때문에 너무 행복해서 이 일을 계속 하게 됐던 것 같아요. 그래서 제가 이 자리에 있지 않나 싶습니다.
There were a lot of times where I just wanted to quit and I wanted to give up, but it was the fans and the family and friends kept telling me, hey, you're too good to quit. Don't quit now. You can definitely do it. And that really gave me the push to keep going. And I think they deserve some credit for this win too. Now, lastly, when you guys started out in the beginning of this season, you said, you know, we're gonna make it the champions, and people thought you guys were delusional, but here you are, and hopefully you guys make a deeper run. So what is your mindset facing your next opponent, MIBR? 이제 처음에 팀을 꾸렸을 때 구치리 코치님 방송에서도 챔피언스 가겠다, 진출이 목표다 라고 얘기를 했는데 다들 그렇게까지는 힘들 것 같은데 라고 얘기를 했잖아요. 근데 첫 승까지 거뒀습니다. 이제 앞으로 더 높이 올라가야 할 텐데 다음 경기 MIBR이잖아요. 각오 들려주시죠.
일단 오늘도 솔직히 그렇게 완전 만족스러운 경기는 아니었지만 좀 더 보완해가지고 MRBR도 이길 수 있게끔 더 열심히 노력해서 다음 경기 재밌게 또 좋은 모습 보여드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Well, I would say today wasn't our best form, so we're just gonna build on what we learned from today and make sure that we bring our strongest and best game on that day when we face MIBR. And thank you everyone for your support. And congratulations, FOMO, once again. And good luck to you in the next matchup. 이렇게 해서
Guys, udahan dulu ya.
풀문 선수
Kita ketemu
만나봤습니다.
nanti Rabu, oke? Kita ketemu Rabu. Ini mestinya lebih panjang, maksudnya Rabu lebih seru. Udah upper-upperan, upper 26 iya upper bener. Teman-teman semuanya sudah menonton, gua mau izin pamit undur diri dulu. Selamat sore. Nonton sendiri dulu ya. Bye bye semua. Thank you. That's it, chat. See you.